Just want to check that we're live. Should be again, but okay. So, what's up, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube? Stephen Ryan from Cider and Port back for a video. Um, it kind of occurred to me the reason for this video. I mean, you can tell by the title what the reason for the video is, but it kind of got me thinking, and I'm just going to just because I'm super fucking paranoid about this. Just want to check. Yeah, so the audio is going into my mic just because it was going into the fucking mic in the webcam last time. It came up on a stream. I'm going to say I did it in the last week, maybe. You know about the compass test. Um, and it kind of got me thinking. When was the last time that I actually did the compass test? And I think the last time that I did it was sorry was before I kind of was when I was still a SOCDEM. Um, and so yeah, so I kind of got thinking, like I'll try and I'll do it again, and we'll kind of go from there and stuff like that. So yeah, without further ado, let's kind of go into it. Now, I'm not going to explain my answer to every single one of these, but I'll be kind of going through, like what the question means. I know just based on my past experience, because I've done the test before, I just want to go over there's one question in it that I can never think of what the question actually means or what it's looking for. So I'll be going over, or I'll just Google what that question actually means and stuff like that. So I know that that's going to be there for at least one of them. But other than that, we should be pretty good, right? We should be pretty good. So so yeah, so without further ado, as I said, let's dive in. Okay, so one of six, just a few propositions to start with concerning no less how you see the country and the world. If economic globalization is inevitable, it should primarily serve humanity rather than the interests of transnational corporations. Well, I strongly disagree. Sorry, strongly I strongly agree with that. Yeah, it should absolutely serve people rather than the corporations. I'd always support my country whether it was right or wrong. Strongly disagree. Why would you? Why would you? Okay, if you knew that your country was wrong, why the fuck would you support it? Like, that just seems stupid to me. That just seems like it literally seems insane to me. But anyway, no one chooses their country of birth, so it's foolish to be proud of it. No, I disagree with that. I disagree with that. I think that, yes, look, it's true. Nobody does choose their country of birth, but I'm extremely proud to be Irish. I'm extremely proud of what Ireland has done, especially in the last couple of years. There's obviously some downsides. One of Crafty Keela's last streams was about the was to do with the mother and baby homes, which is obviously like horrific, and everything else like that. So I'm not saying that Ireland has been like 100% perfect, but yeah, no, I'm extremely proud to be Irish. The fact that like our government, when it was founded, was literally influenced by the Catholic Church, and now we have same-sex marriage legalized and abortion legalized, and those are only in the last. Same-sex marriage was in 2016 and abortion was in 2018, I believe. I might be wrong on the actual years, but roughly around those times. So it's literally only in the last 5 years that both of those like extremely important things were only legalized. So yeah, no, I'm extremely proud. One of the proudest moments that I like, one of the reasons why I am so proud of Ireland is because Ireland became the first country to ever legalize same-sex marriage by way of public vote. Like, it's always been kind of done by you know um through legislation or through changes to the laws or cases in the Supreme Court, etc., etc., etc. the point is that it was never done through public vote before, and Ireland will go down in history as the first country ever to legalize same-sex marriage by public vote. So I'm immeasurably proud of that. So yeah. um our race has what Jesus fuck. Our race has many superior. No, no, strongly disagree with that. No, it's yeah. Wow, that's a little bit on the nose. Um, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. No, I no, I disagree with that because how you doing, everybody who's in the live chat? I can see that two of them have just popped up there. Keela was one of them. I just gave you a little bit of a shout out there. Um, so yeah, yeah, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. No, I don't. I don't agree with that. I don't because so the enemy of my country could be, just for argument's sake, right? This is like not based on like facts or anything else, but the enemy of my country could be Saudi Arabia, right? And the enemy of Saudi Arabia could be, fuck it, just pick any country, Russia. Like, does that necessarily mean that me and Russia are, like, friends as a country? Well, no, I don't. I don't think so. So, no, I would disagree with that. Military action that defies international law is sometimes justified. No, no, completely disagree with that. Completely disagree with that. That's how you get to the rise of what the United States is doing right now and waging offensive wars against countries that didn't attack them. No, this is absolutely ridiculous. Um, there is now a worrying fusion of information and entertainment. A worrying fusion. No, there is undeniably a fusion there, but I don't think it's worrying. So I'm going to disagree with that. Okay, next page. Um, people are ultimately divided more by class than nationality. Yeah, yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. Absolutely. Um, there's yeah, there's the divide between people is kind of, it is more to do with class. The fact that like just to kind of go back to the states, the like super ultra mega wealthy, um they are completely, there is a greater divide between them and even kind of like lower middle class to that gap is larger than the gap between us and a different and and a different yeah. So look, it's no, it's stupid. Controlling inflation is more important than controlling unemployment. So controlling inflation is more important than controlling unemployment. Um, yeah, I agree. I agree with that. I'm not going to say that I just agree with it or that I just barely agree with it, but inflation, it's sort of like, I mean, inflation is kind of going to happen, right? Like it's pretty much something that's just going to happen whether we try and fight against it or not. So, if or sorry, Jesus Christ, no, I've completely fucked up on that. So because inflation happens and yeah, we should try our best to control that. But I mean, controlling unemployment, it's kind of like, I mean, like look, we can get to a place where there is a net zero unemployment rate, and the only way to do that is through slavery. So like controlling unemployment, look, we should obviously try and control both, but I think that inflation is more important. Because corporations cannot be trusted to voluntarily protect the environment. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. There's 100 companies worldwide who are responsible for 73% of the carbon emissions. So absolutely, they require extreme regulation. They like absolutely. From each according to his ability, to each according to his need. This is what I was saying earlier. It's it's something that I just don't understand. Like I really just is a slogan popularized by Karl Marx in his see uh meaning. Let's just give me the same fucking thing. Uh, Including the following. Nothing is assigned belong to anyone, either as personal possession or capital goods. No, that's kind of that's just describing. Mark's lol. Yeah, I know. um, Funny. Um, you need help there, side report. I do. I do. It's. I said it at the start. There was one. There was one question in this, and I think from each according to his ability, to each according to his needs. It's a fundamentally good idea. Look, I'm going to agree with it because I know that I agreed with it last time. I just can't find the exact definition or the exact meaning behind that phrase now. So, like, it's kind of a little bit. Look, anyway, I know that I agreed with that last time. So I'm just going to press agree now and we'll just move on. The free the market, the free the people. Nope. Nope. America has an unbelievably free market. It has a free market with things that should not be a part of the free market. Just for example, healthcare shouldn't be part of the free market. And the free the people, no, 45,000 people die every single year because of lack of basic healthcare. So no, the free the people, the free, no, bullshit. It is a sad reflection on our society that something as basic as drinking water is now bottled brand or consumer product. And you know what? I'm going to disagree with that and hear me out on it because look, whereas I agree with it in like in part, right? It is a little bit, unfortunate that it's the Marx quote means you work what you're able and only take what you need. Yeah, yeah. I think that yeah that was extremely similar to a different meaning on that quote. So yeah, I would uh, I would agree with that. Now, whereas I agree in part that it is it's sad, it's upsetting, it's this that something like drinking water is a bottled product, right? But the thing about it is that I think that like really you're kind of more so buying the plastic that is around the bottle rather than the actual water itself. And of course, look at whereas yeah, the whole plastic thing. If you get to reuse it, then I kind of think that like there's a I I do disagree with it, but I only kind of like only barely disagree. So yeah, that's my whole logic on that. Anyway, land shouldn't be a commodity to be bought and sold. Um Disagree. Yeah, disagree. Um it is regret. Have I skipped one? No. It is regrettable that many personal fortunes are made by people who simply manipulate money and contribute nothing to their society. Yeah, absolutely. There are people who are born into the fortunes that they have, and there are people who earn their entire livelihood just by buying and selling stocks. No, fuck, like what, like no, uh, yeah, they're not doing anything for that money. They're not going out and like earning it, so to speak. So anyway, um, sorry now. See, when you need to read the last drop of my and the issue of water, you'll find it fascinating. Okay, I'm I could go back and kind of find this quote, or I'll write it down on my phone so I can have a reference point. Last drop by Mike Gonzalez. Okay, I have that written down, so I'll be able to go and look that up later. Um, Protectionism is sometimes necessary in trade. Protectionism. That's a little bit loose, I'm going to say. No, not that. Not this. There we go. The theory of practice or shielding a country's domestic industries from foreign competition by taxing imports. Mm, um. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I agree with that. I agree with that. The only social responsibility of a company should be to deliver a profit to shareholders. Strongly disagree. Do I even really need to go on that? The rich are too high. No. Um, the those with the ability to pay should have access to higher standards of medical. Strongly disagree. Yeah, no, strongly disagree. Um, no. Look, everybody should have the same standard of healthcare, and that would be achieved through Bernie's plan of healthcare. Look, everybody should have the exact same standard of healthcare, and I will explain to you exactly why. Because if there comes up any sort of issues in that healthcare plan or system, then everybody is going to recognize it almost immediately, and then you're incentivized to improve on that plan because everybody is part of it. And if it blah, 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 if it's a net negative, uh like that is impacting that plan, then I mean it's going to negatively affect everybody. So you're going to be incentivized to try and make it better. It's just simple. How you doing, Brainbug? I'm only after seeing your comment there now. Government should penalize business that mislead the public. Yep, yep. It's false advertising. Yeah, yeah. I mean, like there are laws against false advertising for a reason. You know, but I mean, like also kind of aside from that, so there are false advertising to do with the products that they sell, but there are also kind of like you can mislead the public in a way such as you can give this appearance, you can give this aura, this idea that that you're a pretty good company, that you like do all these things, that you give all this money to charity, this and the other thing, and it kind of gives this kind of sense of like, oh my god, aren't they such a wonderful company? If I give my money to them, even a part of that is going to go to helping somebody else, so yes, I'm going to go and buy with this company rather than that company. And then if this company finds out, or if you find out that this company is actually not giving nearly as much, or they're this other thing, it could, yeah, this is largely self-explanatory. I'm just kind of explaining just kind of generally why I would agree with it. A genuine free market requires restrictions on the ability of predatory multinationals to create monopolies. Absolutely. Look, am I in favor of kind of getting rid of the free market? I mean, no, because the answer sometimes to some of these problems is the free market, and sometimes the answer is government. I'm not a fucking idiot. I'm not a political hack. Sometimes the answer is government. Government is not inherently evil either. So yeah, no, we should. If a problem can be done with if a problem can be solved through the free market, absolutely solve it through the free market. I've got no issue with that. No problem at all whatsoever. If it can done be through the government, absolutely no problem at all. Okay, next page. Abortion, when the woman's life is not threatened, should always be illegal. Strongly disagree. Um, Women's bodies are not, they are their bodies. And oh my God, I know every single conservative, every single pro life, forced birth person who is in the audience who is like going to say, oh my God, how can you? No, no, no. Or like, is like, oh my God, what about the baby's body? This, that, the other thing. You don't have the right, or like you should not have the right to forcibly like mandate it so that people have to donate organs, or so that have to donate blood, or so that have to donate any of these things. What time is it in Ireland? It is 20 past 9 uh, at night. I don't know if that needed to be kind of said, but anyway. Um, so where was it? Oh yeah, yeah. You shouldn't have the right to forcibly take blood from someone or to forcibly take an organ from somebody because of this thing called bodily autonomy. If you don't have the right to force somebody to give their body, even if knowingly refusing means that you are contributing to somebody losing their life, I'm sorry, and I know that it's unfortunate, and I know that it may come across as being very harsh and very this and that and the other thing. But it's just, look, it's the law, and we know this. I can never, ever, ever think in the name of this court of this case. But I'm sure if you kind of Googled around a little bit, you could absolutely find this. There was a case where it was two cousins, right? So largely around two cousins, but it was mainly the family versus this one cousin. I'll explain briefly because I do want to go on. Basically, there was two cousins. One of them was, I think it was like liver failure or something like that. He needed an organ, right, basically, and they couldn't find a match. They were searching, couldn't find a match. They found out that the cousin actually was a match after being tested, and the cousin refused to donate part of his organ or to because and his logic for it was, look at, this is a surgery, all surgeries have risks. I'm pretty sure it was definitely two, it might have been three young kids, and he was like, I'm not running the risk of having my wife bring up of having her being a single parent bringing up three young children. I don't want to do that. Aside from anything else, I don't want to miss up on seeing them grow up. I don't want to miss out on all of these things, which is perfectly fine. Subsequently, the first cousin who needed the organ died, and the cousins and that person's family sued the cousin. And basically, when it got to court, all of the things was all thrashed out, this, that, and the other thing. And what happened was, when or the judge in that case said, whereas this is partially quoted, so I'm gonna say, yeah. Whereas I find what you did reprehensible, it is justified under the law. Nobody is forcing you to donate organs. So he ruled in the cousin's favor, not the family's. So even though the cousin in that scenario knew that his cousin was going to die, he knew his cousin was going to die if he didn't do this, and yet he wasn't forced to. So to bring this back, if we're talking about abortion, if you have an abortion and you know that that is going to cause the baby to die, how is it any different than than the scenario in these two cousins? Oh, the difference is, well, one of them was a fully grown adult. Dude, that makes it fucking sadder. What are you talking about? That literally makes it sadder. Anyway. I've rambled for way too long. Let's just continue. All authority should be questioned. Yes, strongly agree. All of them. All authority should be questioned. Absolutely. Why not? Why the fuck would you disagree with this? Like, genuinely, who would disagree with this? All like and say that all authority should never be questioned. This is ridiculous. This kind of ties into kind of what I was or the like current time that we are living in, which is, so it came up primarily around when what the fuck, when Trump had the whole phone call case or debacle or whatever you want to call it. And it was like, oh my God. And there was a lot of, talk around it. There was like, is this overreach? Is this making it so that, like, no president has their privacy? This, that, and the other thing. Fuck that. Fuck that. I want this to be completely blown well the fuck open. I want there to be complete and utter transparency. I don't want the government or the president, no matter what fucking party they are from, hiding anything I want there to be fucking 24/7 fucking mic'd surveillance of what the president is doing. This is the leader of the free world. They're the most powerful person on the face of the fucking earth. And we know virtually nothing about what they are doing behind closed doors apart from what they tell us. And more importantly, when we find out they are lying and what the actual truth was after the fact. I want I want Biden to be so fucking heavily mic'd. I want there to be an audio clip, a fucking 24-hour audio clip that starts off with him grunting as he's taking his morning shit. I want there to be complete and utter transparency in the government. They should be hiding absolutely fucking nothing from us. Why? Why should they be? Why should they get away with hiding shit from us, from the people who fucking elected them? This is absolutely ridiculous. All authority should absolutely fucking be questioned. I'm not saying don't trust anybody. I'm not saying don't trust any authority or any. I'm just saying if you feel like they need to be questioned, fucking question them. This is absolutely ridiculous. This is literally bending the knee and licking the boot of every single person in some form of perceived authority because you fucking like this is absolutely ridiculous. Who the fuck would disagree with this? Insane. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. No, I disagree with that because it kind of makes it so that the punishment for something that you did should be like equal and no less and no greater to the thing that you did. Okay, so if somebody kills, you know, my sister, do I then get to kill theirs? Like, no, that kind of seems a little bit weird to me. It kind of seems like this like unevolved primal no, it just seems weird to me. I don't think that we should know. Taxpayers should not be expected to prop up any theaters or museums that cannot survive on a commercial basis. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. Sure, look, is it sad when a museum or when a theater kind of, goes out of business or when they close down? Yeah, sure, it's sad, but I mean, no, I don't think that the taxpayers should have to prop them up when they're not surviving on their own. No, no. Schools should not make classroom attendance compulsory. I actually disagree with that, and I'll explain why. I know that that kind of seems like an authoritarian kind of like forced uh, everything else. Education is the key to absolutely fucking everything. Education is what is driving society. It is what is informing people on how and why they should vote. It is what is informing people on like a wide variety of vast issues with politics and with social issues, with all of these things. Education is absolutely and completely and utterly key. So yeah, I think that they should make it compulsory. Look, am I saying that if little Timmy misses a single day in fucking school, that the FBI fucking breaks in and raids his fucking home and going like, why are you not? No, I don't think. No, that's absolutely ridiculous. I don't think that that should happen. There should be obviously a little bit of leeway, but yeah, I think that they should make it compulsory. Yeah, definitely. All people have their rights, but it is better for all of us that different sorts of people should keep to their own kind. What the fuck is that question? Jesus. What sort of fucking faux segregation bullshit is that? That's fucking Jesus. And this is the other thing. Right wingers say that this quiz was written by leftists. What the shit is that? That's fucking insane. Good parents sometimes have to spank their children. I agree with that, but only just kind of barely because look at was I spanked as a kid? Yeah, I was, but I wasn't. I was spanked. I wasn't really hit. I wasn't beaten. Um, and my mom never did it excessively. Uh, but the point is that I learned. I recognized I didn't like to be being spanked. I didn't recognize that I didn't like that. Um, and as soon as it happened, I knew not to do the thing that she spanked me over again, and I didn't. So, I mean, It wasn't even very often, guys. It was like once every 3 months, I'm gonna say. Like, if even that. I genuinely don't know. No, I wasn't spanked a lot, and it never really, like, yeah, look, I'm going to skip this one because I only kind of barely agree with that. I don't know that I would ever hit my kids. I genuinely don't. I don't see myself ever hitting my kids, but I'm not going to say, but like, then again, I don't kind of agree with, oh, if you spank your kid like once or like as often as my mom did, or like even less often than that, that like she should be considered a bad parent. Because if you say that my mom is a bad parent, I'll fly to wherever the fuck you are and punch you, because, like, fuck you. My mom was an absolute fucking saint. She's an amazing parent. But anyway, it's natural for children to keep some secrets from their parents. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. Like, I don't think that it's. I think that it should be a problem. Like, well, no, do I agree with that? I do and I don't. I do and I don't. The reason that I do is because, look, I think that, like, if you're hiding like some small shit from your parents, then yeah, I think that it should be kind of, it shouldn't be an issue that you're hiding something small from your parents. But I mean, if it's something like you're being bullied, or if it's something like, you're part of the LGBTQIA community, if you're if you're depressed, if you're having suicidal thoughts, I think like that. And I think this is kind of basic. Obviously, a lot of people are going to say, well, no, that, like, obviously kids shouldn't hide that shit from their parents. But at the same time, I kind of think that, like, it's kind of okay and almost harmless if they hide some things from their parents. So I agree and I disagree, but I more agree with it. I think that it's, and again, I just want to highlight this: some secrets from their parents. So yeah, no, I'll stick on agree. Oh, it's going too much. Possessing marijuana for personal use should not be a criminal offense. Strongly fucking agree. Can we actually get to a point where we're moving on from this childish fucking bullshit? This is absolutely insane. Weed has been around for fucking thousands of years, and like, all you are doing if you smoke a joint is fucking altering your fucking consciousness for 2 hours or so, and you just have a much better fucking time. Like, it's can we literally just move on from this childish nonsense of trying to fucking outlaw weed? It's absolutely insane. It's ridiculous. It should be legal fucking everywhere. For I don't care if you have like a fucking pound. If anybody kind of understands how, like, weed is kind of measured, that's quite a fucking lot. I don't care. I don't give a shit if you have a pound of this shit. Just, like, no, this is childish fucking nonsense, and we need to move away from it. Weed should absolutely fucking be legal. The prime function of schooling should be to equip the future generation to find jobs. To find jobs, no, I disagree with that. No, it should be to educate people on, like, how and why the world works, on how you can, if you want to try and affect systemic change, on, like, any of these sorts of things. It should educate people about what about like about what it's like to be LGBTQIA, about, like, what that lived experience is like. Kids should know about this, because, and it, like, look, obviously they should know about this, because if the kid turns out to be gay, then yeah, obviously it's like they need to know what the fuck it is. But also, if this is normalized, if this is kind of said, like, if this is done in schools where it's kind of given the impression of, like, being entirely normal, entirely natural, then it's going to, like, make it seem really, really weird if the kid gets bullied for it, because it's just like, if the perceived um understanding is that this is perfectly normal and perfectly natural, etc., 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 then, I mean, like, why would you bully someone for being kind of normal and natural, right? Kind of seems a little bit stupid when you phrase it like that. So that's my point. That's why I'm saying that, no, that we should we should try and kind of move away from this. Uh, God, okay. I haven't checked live chat for a little while, mainly because I was mainly because I was kind of ranting there. Brainbug, if the authority is legitimate, it should hold up scrutiny. Absolutely, absolutely, 100%, 100. Every single word of that comment, including if, there, and is, I fucking 100% totally fucking agree with. Like perfect comment. Craft Tequila, I had wondered how Steve was going to make this stream longer than 15 minutes. oh, that's fucking brilliant. Craft Tequila, I quote K from Men in Black as a person is smart, people are stupid. Perfectly. On the transparency of governments. Hashtag triggered. Lovely. Love it. Races are a human construct. Dude, preaching to the fucking choir, my dude. I was spanked, but psychology processes that any violence is ultimately bad. That is true. That is true. You're not wrong about that. I took this test a while ago, and it came out and I came out of center left, like fuck I am. Yeah, look, I don't know, dude. Like, you see, like, people do say that like that the questions on this were kind of like written by liberals and stuff like that, and that like it's a left leaning test, and agree and disagree. Like, there's like few questions in there that no fucking way were at least willingly written by a left leaning person. There's no fucking way. But I do know that it's incredibly fucking difficult to get like authoritarian right on this test. Like, you have to go in this purposefully trying to get that. You know what I mean? So anyway, Stephen is the most indecisive person when it comes to these questions. Like, no, I'm just kind of I'm just sharing why, because there are some questions, there are some answers to this that I'm going to kind of that some people are gonna not really understand why I'm answering them, and so that's kind of why I'm putting them out there. You like seeing me get triggered? Well, look, it makes for good content. How many questions has he answered so far? Fuck, dude, I'm about halfway down. I'm a little bit more than halfway down page 3, so more than half. Wait till he gets to religious ones. Yeah, that'll be fun. Oh, the rants are mighty today. Absolutely. Look, there's nothing like an Irish person having a rant. Nothing like it. You saw the Facebook page SWP. I'm not familiar with that, actually. So could you kind of fill me in on what that is, Tusk? Because I genuinely don't know what that is. Facebook is carving into the right wing and has started taking anarchist and socialist pages down on top of the balance of the purging Trumpists and neo-Nazis. Oh yeah, absolutely. But look, dude, fucking the Daily Wire is one of Facebook's fact checkers. The Daily Wire, if you don't know what that is, like off of like a complete hand, that's Ben Shapiro's organization. They're a fact checker for Facebook. So I mean, like, yeah, I'm not surprised in any fucking way that they're getting purged. You're just waiting for your person. Are you taking guests today? Yeah, I think I actually will, because I think that it would be fun if somebody wanted to do their own compass test. I think that would be kind of fun to kind of do, and to kind of explain, like, why they're answering the way, why they're giving the answers that they are. So yeah, look, if I'll probably take guests anyway, after I'm finished the test. But yeah, no, if somebody wanted to do that and didn't mind, kind of like going through the test, absolutely, I'd love to see that. Oh, the Workers' Socialist Party. Oh, right. Oh, okay. Or the Socialist Workers' Party, and we know them as people before profit over here. Yeah, no. I've voted for them several times. Soldier silence and do it. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so after I'm finished the test, which I will be kind of getting on with now soon, I'll post a link to this down in the chat, and we'll go from there. Okay, So people with serious inheritable disabilities should not be allowed to reproduce. No, I disagree with that. No, like you're literally trying to like that is only one step away. It's only one step removed from like controlled sterilization, which no, I think that's just inhumane. That's no. I think that they should that the two people who have or one or either who have an inheritable disability, but look, I mean, like a disability, I mean, like Jesus Christ, like you could have somebody who has like dwarfism, like you could have two people who have dwarfism have sex, and like the chances, sure, is that the child is also going to have dwarfism. Like, does that mean that they shouldn't be allowed to? No, fuck that. I think that informed enthusiastic consent should be present, which what that is, and I'll try and explain it in as short of like way as I possibly can. Basically what it is so I'm a smoker. I am exercising informed enthusiastic consent when I smoke. So I am informed. I know that smoking causes cancer. I know that all of the types of cancer that it causes. There was something that I read. I don't know if this is true, but that like one cigarette takes like 7 minutes off your life or something like that, right? I I don't know if that's true, but look, maybe it's just like a deterrent or something like that. Anyway, I am informed of all of the negatives aside from just, like fucking lack of breath, if you're kind of like going up if you're like if you're going up like several flights of stairs and you are a smoker and somebody is a non-smoker and you're both of like, like average height, weight, all of those types of things, the smoker is going to have a tougher time getting up those stairs. So I know all of those, right? I'm enthusiastic. I am still so and sorry, enthusiastic consent is I am consenting to still smoking and I'm doing so enthusiastically. I'm not being pressured by anybody. I'm not like nobody's forcing me to smoke. Nobody is, like doing any of these things. So I am exercising informed enthusiastic consent when I smoke. If you have a disability and you are considering having children, you should be exercising informed, enthusiastic consent about the risks of passing on any sort of disability to your children. As long as that is present, no, 100%. So I'm actually going to change that to strongly disagree. If you have informed, enthusiastic consent, you can do whatever the fuck you want to. As long as you're not harming anybody, of course. But then again, like, consent. Well, harming and consent it's overlapping. Anyway, the most important thing for children to learn is to accept discipline. Fuck no. Fuck no. Do I even need to explain that? There are no there are no savage and civilized peoples. There are only different cultures. No, I disagree with that. There are some groups of people out there who are pretty fucking savage. And no, I'm not talking about the fucking Muslims. I'm also talking about different fucking people. Don't fucking, id pull me. Those who are able to work and refuse the opportunity should not expect society support. Strongly disagree. What the fuck? Like, no. What the fuck does that mean? Okay, so if you if you are a 18-year-old girl, right, who has just left high school, and you have a 4 month old at home, and both of your parents work, right, or one or either of your parents work. Okay, if you're in like a single parent family, right, your parent is obviously working. If you kind of want to be there and want to bond and want to raise your child absent of like daycare and nannies and all of those sorts of things, no, absolutely fucking absolutely no, no. This is insane. When you were troubled, it's better not to think about it, but to fuck no. I haven't got two fucking psychology degrees and wanting to go into therapy for nothing. Absolutely. This is one of the most dangerous methods of thinking that I can even possibly fucking think of. You should absolutely fucking do something about it if you are troubled about absolutely anything. I don't care how fucking minor or how fucking major it is. This is insane. You should absolutely fucking go and talk about it. There is a reason why 76% of suicides are male, and that is because of, again, actual toxic masculinity that has taught men to be strong and to be manly and to be all of these things and to not talk about their problems. This is fucking bullshit. This is leading to people people actively hurting themselves. This is ridiculous. First generation immigrants can never be fully integrated with their new community. No, no, no. I disagree with that. I think that some first generation immigrants are not going to be fully integrated, but some are. So no, it kind of depends on the person. But as a whole, no, I don't agree with that. What's good for the most successful corporations is always ultimately good for us. Nope, because what's good for the most successful corporations is profit to their shareholders and like making their like fucking appointed CEO like their next new fucking billions. This is insane. What do you mean? So that is how it's supposed to sound? Like it's not supposed to be here. Like there. Well, no, there is where it's supposed to be. If I kind of go in closer like this, then it's kind of doing the what is it? The bass effect or like something like that. I don't know. I somewhat remember kind of going in. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. Look, I'm getting way off topic. No broadcasting institution, however independent its context, should um should receive public funding. I'm genuinely having trouble with this one. No broadcasting institution, however independent its content, should receive public funding. I disagree. That's literally a gut reaction. I don't know why I think that. I don't know why. I just do. It's just yeah. Next page 4 of 6. We still got fucking 3. We still got 2 pages to go. Jesus fuck. Okay, 3 if you include this one. Our civil have I skipped one? No. Our civil liberties are being excessively curved in the name of counterterrorism. Yep, strongly agree. Do I even need to explain? A significant advantage of a one-party state is that it avoid all the arguments and delay progress. Fuck that. If you have a one-party system, no, Jesus, fuck, are you kidding me? You could have a ridiculously fucking conservative government who are going to stifle any and all progress as it arrives. Fuck that. That's absolutely insane. Although the electronic age makes official surveillance easier, only wrongdoers needed to be worried. Nope. The fact that the government is even like even possibly able to like just spy on you with no warrant, with no nothing. Fuck that. No, that's absolutely insane. The death penalty should be an option for the most serious crimes. Nope. 6% of the time you get the wrong person, and 1% is too much, so 6 is definitely too fucking high. Absolutely not. In a civilized society, one must always have people above to be. Nope. Abstract art that doesn't represent anything shouldn't be considered art at all. Nope, I disagree with that. You can find meaning in art and anything. It doesn't matter. Look, if you find meaning in art, then it means something to you, and it's no longer abstract. Then it means something. So I mean, like just because like to the casual eye or to the casual viewer or to even a majority of people, it might not mean something. If it means something to somebody, then it means something. Simple as. In criminal justice, punishment should be more important than rehabilitation. Absolutely not. What's the fucking point in punishing them if you don't work on rehabilitating them so that when you release them, that they that you can be assured or at least highly confident that they're not going to reoffend? What's the fucking point in punishing them if you don't also rehabilitate? I'm not saying the punishment can't be completely separate or can be not interchangeable with rehabilitating them, but punishment only if it's like needed. Like, what's the point in sending people to prison if you just punish them and you don't rehabilitate? No, fuck that. It's ridiculous. There's a waste of time to rehabilitate some criminals. It's a waste of time to rehabilitate some criminals. Disagree. I think that whereas some people are going to be easier to try and to like work with and stuff like that than others. No, I think that no. I think that I genuinely think that the amount of people that are like legitimately too far gone and cannot be helped is actually kind of like a low number. I don't even have like off the top of my head like what that number would be, but I genuinely think that most people can be helped. It just kind of requires a lot like extra, time and effort and kind of going into splitting. No. Uh Oh, that's what you're supposed to send. Derailing is fun. He doesn't speak directly into the mic. Make him. At least it's better than the monitor or phone. Well, yeah, that's true. There are some that can't be rehabilitated, except for yeah. Look, obviously there are some people who cannot be helped. I just think that number is just low. That's all. The business person and the manufacturer are more important than the writer or and the artist. No, I disagree. I don't think that they're more important. I don't think that the writer and the artist are more important than the business person. And no, I just don't think that they're more important. I think that they're more or less kind of equal. They're all necessary to enjoying society as we know it. So because the writer and the artist, okay, so the writer who is going to write the scripts for films or is going to write the scripts for a TV show or something like that, and then the artist, I mean, that's kind of a very broad term. You could use artist in the like literal like artist is in painting shit, but then I mean like we would call artists like we would call a singer an artist. So yeah, no, these are all things that we enjoy and that we all use. I don't think that they're any more important than each other. Mothers may have careers, but their first duty is to be homemakers. Nope, strongly disagree. Um, I think that no, I think that it's both. It's equal part responsible. So mothers and fathers may have careers, but their equal duty is to be homemakers. It should be 50-50. This is ridiculous. Multinational companies are unethically exploiting the plant genetic resources of developing countries. Disagree, but I'm open to be proven wrong. Very, very, very open to being proven wrong. Making peace with the establishment is an important aspect of maturity. Fuck that. Okay. Here comes another fucking rant. I'm so sorry. So Biden is now president, and whereas I am happy Biden is president over Trump, people are now saying, "Oh, this is absolutely wonderful. This is a return to normalcy, which is exactly what we need after 4 long years of Trump." And whereas I do agree that a change to Trump's reign as wannabe dictator is now over, and whereas I think that Biden will absolutely be completely and utterly different, Biden is the establishment, and the establishment gave rise to the possibility of somebody like Trump being president anyway. So absolutely not. We should not be normalizing the establishment as like the goal or what we aspire to be like. Fuck that. This is absolutely ridiculous. The establishment is what has given us what is one of my favorite Martin Luther King's quotes. It's like I've used it myself, but I personally think that it is a criminally underused, which is the tranquilizing drug of gradualism. And this is what we are getting. This is what the establishment Dems have given us for decades. Slow, like painfully, incredibly slow incremental change. This is insane. We need big, bold, radical change in order to give us the society that we all fucking strive towards and that we all fucking want and like everything else like this. Look, the fact that this is kind of seen as a positive thing, that we are returning to normal. Well, normal before that was again 45,000 people die every single year because of lack of basic healthcare. Normal was a fucking college in fucking California charging you 60 grand a fucking year so that you could go to college. And by the way, college in the United States used to be free. Even in California, it used to cost like 45 cents in a packet of Pop Tarts to go to college in California in like some of the best schools. So like it's just fucking insane. If that's what was normal, no, we should not be going back to that. We should be moving on from it. Okay, page 5 to 6. Astrology accurately explains my thing. No, do I even need to explain that? The fucking alignment of the stars like impacts absolutely nothing on your fucking personality. This is insane. You cannot be wrong without being. You cannot be moral without being religious. I mean, my old YouTube name used to be "Religion is Bullshit." Do I even really need to fucking explain that? Also, I've done a debate on it. Check in modern day debates archives. Christian versus secular ethics. Um, Charity is better than Social Security as a means of helping the genuinely disadvantaged. Nope, it's not better. The two should be co-equal, but it's not better. Some people are naturally unlucky. I don't really know how to feel about that. Are naturally unlucky? No, I don't think that people are naturally unlucky. I don't think that like luck play. No, no. It is important that my child's school instills religious values. Nope, strongly disagree. Sex outside of marriage is usually immoral. No, absolutely not. The fact that like the fact that sex is becoming like extraordinarily normalized, and the fact that like now men are kind of like waking up to and are like, stopping the slut shaming and like any of this sort of stuff. Like, I don't know how many times that I have to say this, and I have said it quite a lot. Women are allowed to like sex. Women are allowed to enjoy or to look forward to or to ask for or to seek out sex. It is perfectly and completely and like a, a million thousand fucking percent natural for women to enjoy sex. Like, so no. Aside from that, can you imagine? Could you like? Could you could you even fathom the idea that you would spend however many years of your life with someone, spend all this money, all this commitment, all this planning, all this arranging around a marriage, and then get to the night of the marriage when you are going to consummate that marriage, and then find out that your newly legally and everything else like that husband has a 2-inch penis? Could you fucking even imagine the disappointment in that moment? Could you just, oh, I couldn't possibly. No. Being personality wise, being compatible in that area, yes, absolutely. It's completely, like, and I don't even mean in like the same type of personality, because people say the opposites attract and some people make that work, some people don't. You should be able to be compatible on a personality basis with your partner. You should be able to be compatible based on your shared goals or your shared interests or your shared expectations, but you should also be sexually compatible with your partner. It is the core, it's key to being in a relationship. So this is like, no. A same sex couple in a stable, loving relationship should not be excluded from the possibility of. I strongly agree with that. Absolutely. There are how many kids in foster cares and in adoption agencies? And what? Simply because two people who are of the same gender, who are perfectly capable and perfectly able to raise and to care and to love a child the same as a opposite sex couple would, or a different sex couple would, that what, they should be excluded simply because, or no, it's fucking bullshit. It's absolutely ridiculous. No, ridiculous. Porn depicting consenting adults should be legal for the adult population. Yeah, why the fuck is that even an issue? Especially if you're concentrating on this bit, because look, I mean, if they're two consenting adults who also both know that that porn is going to be going up onto the internet, absolutely. Why the hell would you? No, what goes on in a private bedroom between consenting adults. I love the way that they don't put in a number, by the way. So it's just like, if there's like people who are consenting to an orgy, then that should be no business of the state. I love that, by the way. Anyway, but yes, obviously I do strongly agree with that. No one could feel naturally homosexual. Absolutely not. You're born gay or straight. You don't like, grow into it or adapt to being gay. It's ridiculous. These days, openness about sex has gone too far. No, strongly disagree. Uh, like the idea that we should be able to kind of talk about, or to be able to kind of like share kinks or any of these things. And I'm going to get my headphones ready now because I know that I'm going to be bringing guests in. Um, the idea that we should be, like totally open about like sex, and about like what your kinks are, and about like any of these sorts of things, and like openly discussing discussing sex in, kind of friendly and consensual way. Look, it's anyway. So let's see where I am about the political compass. That's kind of where they are, and I'm pretty sure it gives you like, yeah, examples. So you have Hitler, Thatcher, Friedman, Gandhi, and Stalin. Now let's see where I am. That's where I am. Wow, I've actually gone down towards the libertarian. I'm pretty sure the last time that I was like here, I was on this little peg right here. So that is where I am on the compass test. So now that we've gone over that, and we've gone into all of those things, so we're gonna stop sharing the screen and invite, copy to clipboard, paste. Okay, so there is the link to join. Anybody who wants to, absolutely jump in. We'll have a conversation about it. So it took me an hour to go over the political compass test. I had no idea how long I was streaming for, because I had my the thing on a completely separate tab, and I wasn't going back. I was checking the comments on my phone. So yeah, I had literally no idea how fucking long I was streaming for. Jesus. That hour flew by, at least for me. I think I hope I hope it flew by for you guys as well. But yeah. Anyway, there's the link. Anybody can join. Soldier of Silence. How you doing, man?
Good, man. How you doing?
I'm pretty good. I mean, look, I've just finished ranting for an hour, so I'm happy, dude. An Irishman ranting on his own fucking channel, son. There's no better way of spending your day than that. So,
So, what's a website that I have to look that up?
you literally just Google the political compass test, and I'm pretty sure I should just kind of come up then. I mean,
Okay,
like
hold on.
that's what I did anyway.
Political compass. Okay.
Have you ever taken one, or kind of
No, never.
never? Oh, okay, cool, cool, cool.
Yep. Okay. Okay. So I think I've got it. All right, guys. Are you ready? So it says, I think the first one, it says, if economic globalization is inevitable, it should primarily serve humanity rather than the interests of transnational corporations. Well, yeah, obviously.
Okay.
Obviously. I mean, that's a no-brainer. I don't even think that I need to expand on that, because ultimately corporations are going to be in their best interest. So, I mean, I think most Americans would agree that corporations pretty much control our government as it is, because of CPACs and so forth, and lobbyists. Okay. Second, I'd always support my country whether it was right or wrong. Oh, man, this is like I think it's a mouthful question, because what do you mean by support? Like, I love my country, but it's been right and wrong a bunch of times throughout history.
Yeah.
I always support my country whether it was right or wrong. This is very difficult. Like, no, I mean, it's kind of like saying, like, if I was in Nazi Germany and I supported the Nazis, then I'm right. So I disagree. I disagree with that. So
Okay, so people in chat are kind of saying that you're roboting a little bit.
What my volume?
Your audio that's coming through. Yeah, it's kind of.
Oh shit.
It's yeah.
Okay, sorry, not sure why, guys. Yeah, sorry. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but it is like, and I can kind of largely understand kind of what you're saying, but it's just it's just kind of it's pretty robot-y.
Damn, sorry guys. I'm gonna look to see if there's any. Yeah, cut me off if I'm not coming through. It could be your channel though, Stephen, because you are in Ireland.
Oh, okay.
All right, hold on. Okay, so let me go to third. No one chooses their country of birth, so it's foolish to be proud of it. I agree with that.
Your audio is much better right now, by the way.
Okay, cool.
At least so far.
All right. Yeah, I agree. If it's based on birth, I agree with that. Our race has many. Whoops. Hold on. Our race has many superior qualities compared with other races. So race is a human construct. So we disagree with that strongly.
I mean, it's basically just straight up asking you, "Are you racist?" Right? I mean, that's essentially what that question is.
Yeah,
it's really weird.
Yeah. You know what I say to people that pose this question to me of like, you know what? I get this before. Like, you know what? Black African Americans, they evolved with more muscles and more athletic ability, but white people evolved a stronger brain. My response is, do you know a black person that is smarter than you? The answer is always yes. And then, do you know a white person that is dumber than you? The answer is always yes. So if you automatically go to this generalization of what humanity is, you can't stereotype any race. It's a human construct. Ultimately, there's going to be smarter people of any race than you, and your own race, there's going to be dumb people. And that's why we have a median. I like to say, think of the average American, and then think that 49% of them are dumber than that. And that's ultimately the best way of saying that. Okay,
how you doing, Kila?
Hello.
Okay, guys. I'm going to the next one. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Wow, that's kind of a hard one. I mean, isn't that kind of coming from The Art of War, I would imagine. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. I disagree. I mean, obviously, the enemy of my enemy is usually your enemy as well.
You've frozen again.
Yeah, it froze. Was it just me, or did he start to kind of robot towards the end of that sentence there, Kila?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah. Can you hear you now? Yeah.
That's so weird. Okay. So, enemy of my enemy is my friend. I strongly disagree.
Oh,
Military.
I would disagree with it, but at the same time, not that I'm happy about it, but in World War I, weren't we getting weapons from the Germans, which helped with the revolution?
Yeah, but I don't think that you can ultimately count individual battles as ultimately the goal. So I mean,
no, and like Stephen said earlier, like if your enemy is, let's say, the state, or for us, let's say the UK, for an example, and they're arguing with North Korea, I'm sorry, North Korea is not my friend.
Right.
Never will be.
Right.
I will never consider dictators as my friend. The same with Erdogan. Erdogan is not a friend. No matter how many other countries I don't like that's opposed to them, Erdogan is not my friend.
Or even MBS in Saudi Arabia, you could probably say he's playing the long game, as far as their allegiance to America, and really what their point is in the Middle East and controlling the Middle East. They basically played the Trump administration as far as allowing Americans to help them in the Battle of Yemen, which is probably one of the worst genocides that's happened in the last 10 years.
I mean, one of the worst things about these questions is they're very broad and general.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. No, they are. And I'm trying my best. So that's why sometimes I'm pausing on these. Like, You know, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. You gave a great example of that. But even in World War II, right? Like Russia was our friend, but immediately after World War II, it was like Cold War immediately, and they were probably always enemies. And I would even say in the battle against ISIS, right? The battle against ISIS, America actually not united, but we were at least cooperating with Iranian-backed militias, for example.
Well,
And
actually, sorry to cut
go
you
ahead.
off.
Go ahead.
World War II is a great example because Stalin actually held meetings with Hitler and said that he was going to back them up.
Yes, exactly.
As
Well,
long
they
as-
well
as
they did
long as
early
Hit-
on, right?
yeah.
They separated like Poland, right? Like
As long as Hitler
Yep.
respected the boundaries, which he didn't, in which case, you know, Russia ended up siding with the Allied forces.
Yeah, no, early on, it was like Hitler was like, "Hey, we're going to take over Poland, but we're going to separate it with you guys if you back us." And that actually happened before Russia turned against, you know, Germany. So I disagree with that. So next, military action that defies international law is sometimes justified. Wow, that is such a. I would say I agree. I would say I agree. I would say I agree with that, is because if your intent is already to do military actions, and so your intent is therefore to go to war with a country, you thereby, you know, you're already violating some kind of rules of humanity, right? You're already like, I'm going to kill humans already for that.
Here's
So-
why I
ahead.
would disagree with it.
Okay, cool.
It then presents the idea that war crimes are justifiable if you are in the correct uniform.
Yeah. I mean,
That's why I would
Eh,
disagree with it.
so here's my argument to that. In the Battle of the United States against the English in our Revolutionary War, because we weren't wearing uniforms and lining up in straight lines, and we like switched to a jungle warfare type of battle element, which ultimately helped us win that war. Were we wrong because we defied international law in warfare? Even though we won the freedom for our country by doing that, were we wrong?
Here's my answer to that. Okay, was Cuba wrong for doing the exact same thing
Cuba wrong for doing that to who?
to the Americans?
What do you mean, like using jungle warfare?
Yeah.
No.
Exactly.
And honestly, I would even say like Afghanistan, right? Like our whole war against the Taliban. The Taliban isn't some international terrorism organization that's well funded that can go blow up buildings. I would honestly say that the Taliban are patriots to Afghanistan in their mind. Don't get me wrong. I believe their policies are wrong and it hurts their country ultimately. But we are invaders in Afghanistan. And so ultimately, if you look at it from a perspective of I was born in this country and this is the way I was raised, and therefore I'm going to defend this right that I have, whether it's wrong or not, I believe Afghanistan, Taliban is more right than Americans' invasion of Afghanistan.
I mean, there is known acceptances, I suppose, when it comes to modern warfare, rules of engagement. And one of those rules of engagement is that you try not to have casualties from civilian population.
Absolutely.
That's just one example. There are one of the biggest things with regards to Syria was that he was using chemical warfare against citizens.
Correct. Absolutely. No, and I don't disagree with that, but
and so when it comes to warfare, is it acceptable to break the rules of international understanding? And in all fairness,
yeah,
it's an oxymoron because
right.
with each different war, new weapons are being developed. There's no two wars that are the same.
And I would even go further as to that every rule of engagement internationally is subjective throughout all of history. So where is that line? And ultimately, what is your goal during warfare? So we first got to say, hey, warfare is wrong because it kills humans. But if we are going to engage in warfare, where is this line? That line is subjective throughout all of history. And even when you draw the line, that line has been crossed throughout, every war. So if I was a general right now for America, and I would say, we can do X, Y, and Z, which is going to actually free up the country. It's going to make things better for the country, but you're going to have 1,000 civilians killed for it. There's a line there that you kind of have to say. You have to weigh in.
Have you ever seen a movie called Eye in the Sky?
No, I have not.
It's based on a true story, and just not to draw us too far off topic, it was actually, I think it was based around an event that happened in Afghanistan.
Sorry, Keela, just a little bit of a
Hi,
sidetrack.
Sammy.
Out there.
Thank you. I do have a channel, Crafty Keela. You can see my name spelled in the chat because I've been typing in the chat. So Eye in the Sky centered around this intervention between the US and the UK, and a drone strike, or a potential drone strike, in Afghanistan. And what it was there was people leaking things to the Taliban in a house, but right around the corner from that house was a little girl selling bread. And the whole movie centers around the morality. Is it okay to murder this child in order to kill the terrorists and the terrorist sympathizers, those who are betraying the US with these secrets? Right. And the people, the Marines that were actually operating the drones refused to drop the bomb until the damage report came back clearing the girl.
Yeah.
And they were court-martialed. They
because they didn't agree.
Heavy consequences for that.
So I'll tell you a true story. My little brother was actually fought in Afghanistan, and he actually witnessed the Americans dropping a huge bomb on a village, which decimated the entire village, where he knew dozens of kids were destroyed in that bombing. And he was born. I'm born in California, but he was born in Alabama and raised in Alabama. And he said on that day is when he became an atheist. And so when people say that there are no atheists in foxholes, that's just incorrect, because a lot of Americans witness those same things. And so, yeah. Man.
But the question is, going back to the question, is, should it be permissible? Should it be permissible? Right. Because as soon as it becomes permissible, it then becomes normalized. That's the danger.
The thing is, though, if you're taking a unilateral military action, it is not permissible. You are, by definition, acting without permission.
Okay.
So, but if you have to,
I mean, that's
from
true.
the international community before you take an action, then maybe I'll just use the examples of here, the three countries that are represented here. Maybe my country wants to go to war or take an action in, we'll use Afghanistan, but that is detrimental to American interests.
Right.
So they refuse.
You know what? You guys convinced me. I'm actually going to disagree, because I'll tell you why. I'm going to disagree because you would not want another country to disparage your prisoners of war or anything like that.
Yeah.
And so morality says that you wouldn't want that to happen. So
the fear is the normalization of it. That if it's not penalized, even if you do break international law, that has to be penalized then. Someone has to pay the price of that.
The problem you have there is, if you do take a unilateral action, and there has to be consequences, but then those consequences have to be ratified by the international community again, and they can't be military consequences, because that has to be ratified, and so on and so on. So if you look what happened in Serbia with Slobodan Milosevic,
Right.
He simply refused to recognise.
You're right, and I hate that guy because of it. I hate that.
And he got
You're
away
right.
with it for years and years and years because he just simply said, "I don't recognise the legitimacy of
You're
this
absolutely
court."
right.
And there
You're
was
absolutely right.
other than invading, which they couldn't do because a sovereign nation. There was
Oh man,
nothing
I
they
hate
could
that
do.
bastard because of that.
So,
Yeah, no, you're right.
In that instance, then perhaps a unilateral military operation would have been appropriate. But
Yeah,
if
he
you're gonna be-
massacred people.
if you're going to be
Massacred people.
part of an international community, then you have to abide by the rules. But occasionally it means, perfect example, what happened in Ethiopia when Mussolini invaded and Haile Selassie came to the UN and asked for support and they refused. And he was left on his own with no
Yeah.
support whatsoever, while fascists marched into his country and he was a king in exile in a little house in London for years and years and years because the international community couldn't agree.
I agree. And ever since then, every person who believes in reggae has doubted Haile Selassie. All right, that's a separate story. Okay, so I'm going on to the next question. I agreed with you guys on that. You guys actually changed my view on that. Appreciate it.
Look,
Okay.
peer pressure.
No, not peer pressure.
I'm joking.
I think that
this is how the international community works.
No,
They put
no,
pressure on you. You capitulate.
I think the Serbian example is a great example for me because I know that story well, and that's just horrible. You know, it's a horrible story, and you're exactly right that they did go outside the limits of what war allowed, and I completely disagree with that. So I would be a hypocrite if I said that I agree. Okay, so next one. There is now a worrying fusion of information and entertainment. Well, heck yeah. I mean, the whole reason that Trump got elected, right, was because of misinformation. I honestly think that misinformation outside of global warming, well, probably the immediate is the pandemic, but then global warming is going to totally hurt in the next 50 years. I think information is probably third on that list as far as people now growing up
again.
and
Sorry,
roboting really bad.
Robot again, man.
game.
Robot.
Yeah. With regards to infotainment, I think it's the
Infotainment.
phrase,
Yeah.
isn't it? It's the reason Fox News would never took off in the UK. They attempted to start up a Fox UK subsidiary, but they fell foul of the rules here because you can't present yourself with news if you're opinion, and
Yep.
you can't present yourself as entertainment if you're propaganda, which is essentially what Fox is. It's the propaganda for the right wing, their outlet, their voice. But it's become, it's not just Fox, obviously. The internet now is probably the greatest misinformation tool we ever invented. And it's one of those things that like, I don't want to advocate for censorship, but there has to be some control.
How am I fake news, you prick?
Who's calling you fake news?
Steven,
Fake news.
Hey, can you guys hear me now?
we can't.
Yeah.
Okay,
Steven,
cool.
answer that. Answer that.
Look what I just did to your name.
So yeah, we agree.
You're an
We
ass.
strongly agreed with that question.
I'm only joking with you.
I had to switch my headset out apparently.
I think it's the phrase alternative facts.
I love the phrase
Probably
alternative
my-
facts. I
my
love how
least
it came
favourite.
about.
Yeah.
Just because it makes me laugh so much.
Terminological inexactitude and alternative facts are two most awful fucking phrases.
I love that term. I do. I love it. I just think it's such an oxymoron. It just makes me laugh. And I'm giving you alternative facts.
Yeah.
Oh
Is
look,
it-
she did a
Who
good
said that
American
first
accent.
off? Was that
Can I do
Kelly
my
Osbourne?
Irish? Oh, you want to be Russian good times because they're magically delicious.
What?
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 What just happened?
I was trying to be Irish accent, but it's probably not that great.
It's
It doesn't
probably-
help that you're roboting.
Yeah.
No, it's those bloody Irish robots again. I told you.
Yeah.
Stephen has them on standby.
Boring fact of the
Yeah.
day.
I mean,
Robot is
apparently.
actually, I think it's a Czechoslovakian word, isn't it? Robot. I think it was
Oh,
first
damn.
coined in Czechoslovakia in like the 1930s. Just one of those little boring little factoids I picked up along the way.
I love random useless information.
Yeah.
My mom and my sister were watching Pointless, and I was just making myself a cup of tea, and I randomly came out, and they had this thing where I think it was political leaders or something. Oh no, it wasn't. It was they had that, and then like the round when I was coming in, and then the round afterwards they had something like it had something to do with songs or artists or something. And some of them were from, or no, it wasn't. It was movies. That's what it was. Movie titles. And they had to have an OO in the middle of one of the words. And they would give the actors that were in it. And so I knew more of the old movies than my mum, who grew up with those movies. Shameful. Shameful.
Do you think, talking about watching daytime TV, do you think people in Spain sit around watching programs called A Place in the Fishing Rain?
I would hope so. No, they're really into their novellas. Their soaps.
Oh yeah, I remember the first time I was in Spain and put on the TV and it was just soap operas all day.
Yeah.
But so this is a wee bit off topic, but the first one
Very
I watched, it was about a boy, a 14, 15-year-old boy, and he had this nudie book, you know, like a porno mag. It's like an old vintage one of his dad's, like, and then he was like, and it turns out the centre spread was his gran, right? And he'd had this beaten off to this magazine for years, and it turns out he found an old photograph album and there's pictures of his gran, and he ran upstairs and looked at the magazine and the photographs and thought, oh! It's like, you can't put that on at 2 o'clock in the afternoon as the plot to a daytime soap opera. Turns out you can.
It depends on the country really and the culture.
Yeah.
I love Sammy Jenkins in the chat says that's Australia's failing. Unfortunately though, the creator of Fox was Australian. It was bizarre seeing Australia's Fox News supporting Trump while the rest of our news broadcasters slammed him.
Yep. That's actually across the UK, America, and Australia. It's Rupert Murdoch. So Rupert Murdoch owns tons of right-wing.
You're still roboting.
Sorry, guys. Damn.
Soldier, can you do something for me?
All I got was Rupert Murdoch.
Yeah.
Soldier, can you do me a favour?
Sure.
Will you sing Do You Believe in Life After Love?
Do you believe in life after love?
Perfect.
Wow.
I just wanted to see if that would work, but yeah.
More kind of like appropriate song to sing given the kind of state of the robot is, I don't know the name of the song, but the lyrics are just like, what is it, like, push me and then don't touch me or something like that?
Oh,
like,
no, yeah. Satisfaction.
Yeah, Satisfaction, yeah. That one.
Satisfaction?
Yeah.
No, not the Rolling Stones Satisfaction.
Not the good version.
Right, yeah.
No, I don't
The
know
one
the
where, and this is
non-Rolling
gonna sound
Stones
fucking
version.
horrible. The one where it kind of sounds like Stephen Hawking is singing in it.
Yeah, it goes, touch me so I can get my satisfaction. It's this
that one,
horrible kind of techno thing. If you don't know it, you don't know it. But
I don't know it.
If you don't know it, you're very, very fucking lucky.
yeah, you're very lucky.
I'll say that.
I can't play it because it'll be fucking taken down for like copyright, but yeah.
Right.
Right, before we start down pop hits
And
of
this
the day,
video has contained some of my like all-time of my personal favorite rants that I've gone on, so I'm definitely wanting this video to stay up. So there we go.
Yeah, I mean, you did rant quite a bit.
actually,
at the beginning,
Yeah,
I
it took
was
me an hour
looking
to
at
do
it.
fucking compass test.
I was looking at the test, and I went through it in like 15 minutes. I was sitting there like, how is he going to do this for longer than 15 minutes? And then I said, oh yeah, it's Stephen.
I came
It's
in.
me.
I
I
came
love
in.
to rant.
Well,
I
you
came in.
can elaborate on each question. So
Well, I came into the stream at 30 minutes, and it was 36 minutes before you'd answered the second question. And I was asking Keela, I was like, how many have you answered yet? Because I didn't know what page you were on. I was half an hour and you're at question 4.
can you guys hear this?
Yes.
Yep. That'll get you.
Yes, that will definitely
Stop
kill
playing.
the stream.
Yeah.
There was a sacred chord that
Okay, I
David
love that song,
played
but
it.
dude, it's gonna
Please
get
along, but
demonetized.
you don't really care for music.
It's gonna
Do
get demonetized, please, please.
You're going to
And
get
the
it
stream
taken
gets
down.
nuked. Please.
It's gonna is that gonna get you cut?
Probably.
Okay. All right, I stop.
No, you're it's okay to use a little bit of it, I suppose. As
Yeah, I
long
think
as it
it's like,
doesn't
what
go
is it,
beyond
like-
like the 20-second mark.
Yeah,
Right.
I thought it was 15, but yeah, we'll go with 15 just to be on the safe side.
Oh my gosh, that's good to know.
Oh, I've been on streams where they were literally nuked midstream.
Wow.
Do you remember, Tusk, I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
know if you were on the iNetwork that time in the chat where we put on one of the what was the Breatharian ones? We were watching a Breatharian and we were, dissecting it and whatever. And midstream 3 times
Yeah, I just got taken down.
Yeah,
Just
we were
that,
nuked.
that. Yeah.
3
Wow.
times. 3
the
fucking
algo-
times.
If the algorithm picks you up, that's it. You're done. I mean, I took some of my own music, well, all my music down because I got a copyright strike for about 5 seconds of a guitar feeding back, and I couldn't prove I owned it.
Yeah. I
So I
got
had
one
to take it
copyright
down.
strike. I got one copyright strike, but the less said about that, the better.
Yeah.
That's
So
good.
what,
to know.
so what was the next question?
Okay, next question. Hold on. This is a good one. Because corporations cannot be trusted to voluntarily protect the environment, they require regulation.
I love
Well,
he
yeah.
says it in the robotic voice too.
No,
I
that was my Howard Cosell voice. But yeah, strongly agree. I mean, yeah, of course, corporations
Okay.
have to be
Of
regulated.
course, there has to be
Just
regulation.
before we go into this, just before we go into this, I can accept Russell Crowe, Hugh Jackman, and Nicole Kidman, but Ken Ham just alone. I'm sorry, I don't really think that I can forget. I don't know if I can.
Can I just apologize for Rupert Murdoch and Ken Ham? Oh, okay. I didn't see the question. Sorry.
Yeah, Russell Crowe, no. No.
Wait, is Russell
my
Crowe
break.
creationist?
No, he's just a prick.
Russell Crowe and everything other than Bumper Stomper, you can keep him.
Oh, and everything other than the Gladiator. He's shit.
Gladiator, terrible movie.
I mean, like, do we even need to talk about his absolutely brutal performance in Les Mis? I mean,
No,
seriously,
don't
no.
even bring it up.
No,
Don't even bring it
Ruined
up.
that movie. That movie was
That's-
fucking flawless, apart from every
Imagine-
single scene he was in.
imagine how shit you need to be to make something as bad as Les Miserables, whatever you pronounce it, even
I
worse.
know, yeah. So my granddad was a tenor, and he was one of the people who helped train Colin Wilkinson, who was the original Jean Valjean in the stage performance. So we went to see it. It was one of the last things that my granddad did while he was alive. We went to see the 25th anniversary of it. And the guy who was playing Javert, his name was Norm. I can't remember his last name, but his name is Norm Jackson, I want to say, but I don't think it was just phenomenal. And that came out, 3 years before the movie came out. The other thing was the rewrites were definitely not necessary. Yeah, we don't talk about Les Mis. We don't talk about it. We also don't talk about what happened with Fred in Harry Potter. We just don't talk about it.
Nope.
What happened to Fred
We
and
do
Harry
not.
Potter?
We don't talk about it.
We
Okay,
don't
fair
talk about it. It's like Fight Club. It's like the first rule of Fight Club.
enough. I would just like to know why the Weasley brothers never found it odd that their little brother shared his bed with a man called Peter Pettigrew every night
Yeah,
and never thought to mention it.
like they had the map.
They had the
map.
Marauders map. Every night they saw their brother go to bed with a man called Peter Pettigrew.
How creepy.
Ever since when he was 13 as well. Like, would you not at least
Yeah.
question that a bit? No.
They'd be like, take him aside and say, Ron, it's up to you. We're not judging you. Right?
Well,
But every-
particularly because there was no Peter Pettigrew in first year when they
And
started.
Yeah, and Hufflegriff, whatever it was called.
Gryffindor.
Gryffindor. That's the one.
Like they had to sit through a whole ceremony. You'd think they'd remember some
Yeah.
of the names. Like
And
That was
just
so
be like,
creepy.
and why have we never actually seen this Peter Pettigrew person? Do you know what I mean?
Does he sneak him in through the window at night? Like in American movies where you climb up the toilets and chap on the bedroom window.
That only happens in American movies? Come on.
yes,
That
Yeah.
has never happened anywhere ever
Yeah.
in real life.
All right.
I mean,
Okay,
yes,
okay,
there
guys.
was also that, but it
All
never.
right. Next
yeah,
question.
Next question.
We're-
Okay.
Next question.
We're off here. We got from corporation being regulated to Harry Potter.
This is why I love being on a stream with Tusk.
Okay, so from each according to his ability to each according to his need is a fundamentally good idea. So, I mean, obviously, this is the whole philosophy of Republicans in America.
This is it. This
Is it?
is
Yeah, I
the
think-
philosophy of Karl Marx.
This is Marxism.
yeah,
yeah.
but at the same time, like people in America, they only think about themselves and pulling up their own bootstraps, and they don't think about others. Like they kind of come from a first person point of view of, as long as I succeed, as long as I do good, and if everybody had that philosophy, then they would do good as well. And that kind of skips over the whole idea of there are people that are less fortunate in your society. So
Yeah, but I mean the whole philosophy of Marx was it was very. I'm not going to say basic because it wasn't, but it was too simplistic, especially for the world that we live in today. And
Right.
so, take according to need, give according to ability was a mantra pumped out that the idea of society was that you would only work what you can do. You could only you can only give to society what you can give, and you will take only what you need. And it's a very simplistic view of society.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, that's interesting because then you kind of go into, I got you. So it's like basically you can only do what you can do.
Yeah,
It's
and the
one of the-
state will only require you to do what you can do, and will give you what you need.
It's
Very
one of the
simplistic.
It's one of the
It's
fundamental
simplistic,
failings,
but I'll
the
agree with that.
fundamental failing of communism, that it completely disregards the want for improvement and betterment and
Right.
human nature, essentially. You know, it says, if I can only be a bricklayer, so therefore I, perform as a bricklayer, but I
Right.
have a family of 4, so I need for a family of 4. But then if I
Right.
can never be anything
Holy
but
shit, guys!
a bricklayer.
Larry King died.
Yeah, he
Wait.
died.
Yeah,
You were only
okay.
figuring that out now?
Yes.
Yeah, he definitely
Larry
died.
King, the talk show host.
Wasn't it from
Yeah.
COVID too, right?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was from COVID. I was in work the whole day. I didn't know.
Aww. Poor
I'd
Stephen is
never
shell
looked.
shocked.
Brutal.
Never watched his show. I know of his existence. I know his name, but I never watched him. So.
Oh yeah. I mean, he was kind of a legacy in media for the
Yeah.
U.S.
Is that
for-
not? Is that not? He announced his retirement 5 years in advance. Was that Larry King?
I don't
The
know,
Late
but
Show.
he stuff. Even in the past couple of years, he was making appearances.
Okay. Well, whoever it was that had the Late Show, I remember they announced their retirement 5 years in advance and was roundly and rightly mocked for it. Like,
Oh,
you're so-
was
like,
that
you're so-
not fucking... Can't remember his name.
Is that you're so important that you have to tell everybody 5 years before you do anything? Like, who cares? It's not going to take 5 years to find your replacement.
Yeah, I think that was the Tonight Show. Not
Well, maybe
the
it was
or
the
the,
Tonight
the late no, the Late Late Show.
Right. Okay.
I think it was the Late Late Show.
I remember it was what I don't watch TV very much. And I especially don't watch like
And
the
Jimmy, I
American
think that
things.
was the one that Jimmy. It's
I
either
think Jimmy
Jimmy.
Fallon took over.
Or Conan, maybe Conan.
No, Conan
No, it
O'Brien had
wasn't
the Conan
Conan.
O'Brien show. Right.
Yeah.
He had his
I think
own
it was
show. He
Fallon.
didn't take over. But again, we're way off topic again.
Sorry.
Okay,
This is
so
what
this one is super hard for me. The freer the market, the freer the people.
Absolutely not.
Oh my god.
What is your thought process here?
So here's my thought process: is the freer the market, the freer the people. I mean, obviously, you have certain conditions with a capitalistic market where, obviously, if 1% of the population is becoming the richest, then the bottom 90% can't probably get to their full potential. I guess would be my first instinct off that. But then I'm also going with history, and I'm also trying to think of free markets versus, communist markets or Okay.
What that question is about is the freer the market, the more deregulation in the market system, the freer the people are. And if the last 20 years has taught us anything, is that notion is bullshit.
That's for sure. You have to have regulation.
Yeah, you need regulation. So that's what that question centers around. Are you for
Okay, cool.
a purely tyrannical free market society because you feel that makes people free? Because the idea of opportunity, problem with is the lure of opportunity. Not everyone is going to climb that ladder. Not everyone
Right.
is going to have the same opportunity to climb that ladder. So the idea that free markets will free people is not necessarily true. That's why we put regulation on them, so that they will pay a little bit towards that society.
No, absolutely. That's the whole reason for unions, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a real bit like now, unfettered free market capitalism is what's gives rise to sweatshops and Apple putting up a net to stop people throwing themselves off the building and making a mess of the street below, not improving the workers' wages or their working conditions, but putting a net so when they try to commit suicide, they don't hit the pavement. That's unfettered free market capitalism. It doesn't make anybody free at all. Quite the opposite.
See, I'm glad you guys are making me take this test. This is awesome. Yeah. So it's a sad reflection on our society that something as basic as drinking water is now a bottled branded consumer product. Well, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Stephen.
Yeah, I mean, I said disagree to that only because, like, at the end of the day, like, you're really kind of just like you're buying the bottle, or you're like buying the bottle that is holding the water, and I mean, like, you can reuse that bottle. So I mean, like,
who does?
I
mean, if people reuse the bottle, there wouldn't be like this whole Pacific gyre of plastic.
Well, in France, they have drinking points, where you can refill your plastic bottle, and so people do, or they take their own bottle out. So you buy one bottle of water for whatever it is, €1, and then you can spend the rest of your life refilling it for free.
Well, here's my problem with it. Having studied politics for 6 years, and I read a lot, particularly on the aquifers. At the moment, because there is a market, as soon as you find a market that's going to be profitable, they basically rape that source for profit. And so now what they've done, because all of the springs are polluted and the ones that aren't are inaccessible, what they've started to do in order to get enough water for bottled water is take from the underground aquifers. And the underground aquifers are not renewable. We have a finite source of pure drinking water. And the problem is when you drain those aquifers, as soon as you deplete those, there's no accessible drinking water left, which could happen in the next 50 years. To 80 years.
I mean,
so
can't you get like desalinization though?
Sorry?
Can't you get drinking water from desalinization of the oceans?
You could, but they're not putting enough investment into it, and that's the problem. So the other question is, should it be on governments to supply fresh water? I remember as a kid, before bottled water became a thing, you could walk into a shop and you could ask for a cup of water, and they would give you a cup of water.
Right.
Or they would have a fountain somewhere nearby where you, like in France, you could actually fill up a bottle. They don't have that anymore because it interferes with the profits of corporations, and the profits of corporations can actually sue you for loss of profits. That's why you don't see drinking fountains anymore.
Well,
Not
yeah,
on public land.
and the basic fact that there's a product of water bottling because the water coming out of your tap is not safe enough in X% of the world. So, I mean, you go to Mexico, nobody's drinking water out of the tap. Or the Philippines, well, Filipinos will drink out of the tap. But if you're a foreigner going to the Philippines, you're not drinking out of the tap. And so there's even a market for bottled water in the first place. There's something wrong with infrastructure being able to.
You're a robot and so bad we can't understand you.
Damn it.
I know.
I don't think it's me. I think it's because you guys are in Ireland.
What?
I don't think it's my connection. You guys are in Ireland.
It has nothing to do with the fact that we're in Ireland. It's your signal that we're losing. And the reason I know that is because I'm in Ireland and my signal is fine.
And I'm not in Ireland.
But your signal is between the Irish people. I'm saying there might be a delay between Ireland and California.
But it's not lag.
Oh, no?
Yeah,
No,
it's not lag, it's just robot.
it's really bad
So-
roboting.
Still now, or can you hear me?
We can hear you. Hearing you was never really the issue.
Yeah, we can hear you making sound, but we can't decipher the sounds.
That's so weird. I honestly never had this problem on any of this stream. Sorry, guys.
And I'm just going to step away from the keyboard because I have to change rooms.
No
My
problem.
niece got to go to bed.
So we've agreed that bottled water bad, free water good.
Pretty much, yeah.
All right, can you all hear me?
Yep.
We
Okay.
can hear you fine for a few minutes, and then you start to robot.
And then it goes bad.
Then it goes bad. Then it clears up, and it goes bad, and your screen freezes up.
Sorry about that. Okay, damn.
Oh, it's fine. Yeah. That's what I
Um,
mean.
so the next one is land should not be a commodity to be bought and sold. Wow.
Well,
Wow.
there's a right. Okay. There's a
Yeah, I
problem.
mean, this basically
with
just
that.
kind of means, like, are you in favor of private property or are you against it? I think that's essentially what that means.
No, I
Well,
understand, but I know there's a huge argument. I know there's a huge argument to what being, part of what being free means. And
the
you know
land
what? I'm
has-
going to agree with it. I'm going to agree with it at this point.
The land has to be managed.
Yeah. I'm
We
going to
can't
agree with it.
everybody just take a piece of land and say, this is my land. I'm going to be an arable farmer. I'm going to be a sheep farmer, and so on. It has to be drained. It has to be maintained so you don't have problems with like landslides, mudslides, rockfalls, and so on. Something we do have a big problem with in Scotland because the land hasn't been managed properly
Mhm.
due to deforestation. So somebody has to be in charge of the management of the land. So if the state, and I'm not a statist by any means, but we can't leave land management to private corporations because the profit will always come first. So the state has to be in charge of the land management, and the only way they can raise the money to manage the land is to sell it.
Yeah.
So I'm not in favour of it in principle, but thinking pragmatically, then yes, the land has to be managed, which means it has to be a commodity, it has to be commoditized.
honestly have not given this one a lot of thought. I mean, I do know that in the United States, for example, a lot of private lands obviously turn into areas where paper companies take over and they chop down all the trees, for example, and
Yeah,
or they buy up areas where they mine the land and destroy the land because of mining. So
that's the problem with free market capitalism.
yeah,
So if there's no regulation, which is something Donald Trump wanted to do, was to completely deregulate the markets, so you could mine in protected areas. So that can't happen, because it has a knock-on effect for the entire environment. If you look at what happened in Gopal in India, so many people died from these huge industrial spills.
yeah.
So yeah, the land management is in an ideal world, each and every man would have his own piece of land, and we could, be crofters or farmers or so on. But it has to be managed, especially with road and rail infrastructure. We can't just willy-nilly start digging wells and, lakes and so on. So unfortunately, it has to be commoditized. It has to be managed.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I mean, I like the idea of ownership.
In the 1950s in Scotland, the Ministry of Defence planted just millions of square miles of pine forest, all using one particular tree because it grew fast, it grew uniformly, and that was fine.
Mm-hmm.
But it completely destroyed the natural environment. We lost loads of native species.
That was Sitka spruce, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, they did the same over here.
Yeah,
it was ridiculous.
Yeah. And then what they did in the last 25, 30 years, they've been harvesting this, which has meant a lot of localized flooding because the spruce took up all the excess water. Nothing to do with it now. The insect life died. The fish life died in a lot of the lakes, and lakes got flooded. So yeah, land management has to be state controlled, unfortunately.
Okay, this is a hard one. I need you guys to help me on this one because I honestly just don't understand it. This one is protectionism is sometimes necessary in trade. What do they mean by protectionism?
Protectionism is the idea that you need certain protections against imports for domestic economy to thrive and survive. It's the idea of tariffs, the idea of quotas, stuff like that.
Yeah, I guess. Oh man, I'm not an economist, so I guess my first intuition is that if you strengthen your domestic policy, you're always going to have a stronger policy than globalism until globalism equals out its monetary value. And what I mean by that is, right now, for example, we have companies like Apple, who hire a bunch of Chinese laborers who are making little to nothing to support that. And that area of globalism means that Americans who aren't doing that job, who would require more money to do that, don't have that job. Well, and so if that was taken back to America, would there be a balance of how much Americans would be making to make that same phone versus the Chinese? Yeah, it would probably be slightly higher, and the phone would probably be more expensive. But I think ultimately what I'm coming down to is in the short term that not being globalist economy probably benefits the domestic economy a little bit more if you, for example, say, hey, just buy American goods. I think in the long term that ultimately making everybody's wages kind of a median wage throughout the global economy is probably the best thing to better humanity. But in the short term, I think a domestic policy is probably stronger.
I'll give you an example of what it means, what this question means. So in Ireland and in the UK and pretty much around Europe, we have this policy of grass-fed cows. grass-fed agriculture, where in order to keep animals, you have to have a certain percentage of land per animal. There are no, you can't put chemicals into them. You can't genetically alter them in any way. And so one of the biggest debates, I suppose, in the EU at the moment was around TTIP. And what TTIP was allowing for was the importation of American meat. Now, what that would mean was cheap meat, GMO-style meat. You don't know what chemicals are in it. And it is a complete removal, and it would flood the market of very cheap, not high-quality meat, which would mean that the already struggling farmers in Europe, particularly in Ireland and the UK, would have been priced out of the market.
Correct.
And so zero grazing farms would have become the norm in Europe had TTIP got through. So that's one idea of what having tariffs, what having regulations on importations means.
Oh, and I understand that. I guess I'm just not well educated enough to know where is that line between tariffs and benefit to your economy, for example.
Yes, but protectionism would mean putting up tariffs or putting up barriers for to protect your domestic economy.
Yeah, and there's a myth that was put around by the GOP in the last few years. I'm just using the GOP as an example because it's the most obvious one, where it was America first, buy American, you know. But what happens then is you have an economy where there is no rich, no poor. If everybody gets paid the same, like you say, like a median wage, everybody buys American, very, very quickly you end up with hyperinflation because you need rich and poor people to spend money to keep the economy moving. Most people's jobs are there so they've got money to spend and keep the economy flowing. You know, I think with something like, and for some certain parts of America, 80% of people have no savings because they live hand to mouth.
That's true.
Right, so they keep that money flowing. Right, but they can only do that because of cheap imports.
Yeah, I mean that's the line, right? That's the line. It's exactly the line that you're talking about. Is, you know, that's why we switched to the Walmarts in the United States, because of imports. So it's really wages versus your consumerism, more or less. And but still, I think the jury is out on whether Trump's tariffs on China, for example, are a benefit or not a benefit. So, for example, we had to give billions of dollars to farmers because of those tariffs, which is not great. It's kind of like socialism for Republicans. But at the same time, there's a lot of people saying that in the long run, that war, China, will ultimately benefit America because of some of those protectionisms that were in place that actually boosted certain corporations in America because of those tariffs. I'm not well versed enough to know what the line is, to be honest with you.
One of the knock-on effects, which is it's been had a global effect, is that China stopped buying America's scrap metal, which it turned into cheap electronic goods and consumers, like mobile phones and so on, and then sold them back to us as the rest of the world at a knockdown price. Now, what happened then is America couldn't sell its scrap metal to anybody. And a lot of the economy was based on that. And now the price of consumer goods like mobile phones, televisions, and so on has gone up slightly because the cost of material has gone up because China no longer buys the world's scrap.
Right.
So
I would go
it may balance out, but it will take a long time before it does.
Now, I was going to say I would even go further in to the very essence of whether tariffs are beneficial or not. Really, kind of even comes down to the fact that the American dollar is at the center of global economy in the first place. That allows us to print money without really caring about deficits, because we know that other countries so depend on the American dollar, whether it's trade with oil or whether it's trade with stock markets or whatever. And the second that that the world says, you know what, we're no longer going to base our economies off the US dollar is the second that American economy is really in a downfall. Like if all of a sudden everybody just said, you know what, we're just going to base our economies on the Chinese yuan, for example, that's going to really affect American economy more than tariffs or anything like that.
The world kind of moved away from the dollar in the last decade or so, and we don't rely on the dollar as much as we used to. Well, no, it's not. We don't rely on the dollar so much. It's, you know, the dollar's universal. You can go to any country in the world,
exactly.
Pretty much, and American dollars will be accepted.
Exactly.
But at the same time, we haven't tied our economy to the dollar for at least.
Oh, we have control of the channel right now. Oh, sorry to interrupt. Yeah, Sammy Jenkins, spam the chat as much as you want. Absolutely. I was spamming the chat earlier, and now I'm on. So I can't do two things at once. So
yeah, protectionism works if you want to preserve local economies, but it has to be localized economies, not a national economy. You can't protect a national economy through a series of tariffs. Only local artisan economies. Like if you want
to, so this hasn't helped me. This hasn't helped me agree.
If you want to protect Scottish,
I'm going to say agree. I'm going to say agree. Protectionism.
Yeah.
Agree.
Well, I'll disagree with that. Don't believe it.
And I'll disagree with your disagreement.
Okay. The only social responsibility of a company should be to deliver profit to shareholders. Oh, come on. No, I strongly disagree.
That's
depends on your perspective.
I mean, but it's like the whole problem of capitalism.
I know. I don't agree with. Right, hang on. Yeah. Hold on. Hold on. Before you bite my head off, it depends on your perspective. I don't agree with it personally, but the first thing I learned in business was a business exists to make a profit. So if you're a business owner, your first instinct is to make a profit, and if you're a corporation, to pay off your stakeholders. Just saying. No, I know. So it depends on your perspective.
No. I know the business model, but they're just asking, do you believe that the business model is wrong? I'm saying yes.
The question itself is malformed. The question should be, do businesses have any responsibility to society at all, rather than do they have a responsibility to only make a profit?
We lost Stephen again.
Yeah. The business of business is business, and that's a given. But the question should read, does a business have any social responsibility?
Hence the problem with these questions being so broad-based.
Yeah. No, see, the problem with the problem with this questionnaire is, if you put strongly disagree for certain things, then that puts you in an extremist position.
Yes.
Right, so
the other thing is they're phrased in order to provoke an emotion.
Yeah, that's the thing. They're trying to get you to an extreme reaction. Well, I strongly disagree with that. So when it comes to the algorithm that counts your scores at the end, it tends to put you towards the right if you have an extreme reaction.
They're going to put me into an extremist category, and I'm going to be getting wee commercials of extremism.
Can I just say, I never thought I'd say these words, but Brad Pitt had a better Irish accent.
Yeah, please don't do that.
Okay, so this one.
Never thought I'd say that.
This again is a horrible question. The rich are too highly taxed. Like, what does that mean? Like, too highly compared to what?
What's the question?
The rich are too highly taxed. And in what country does that mean? Is that for
in general?
Oh my God! I mean,
I know.
How can you be in general? And the rich in Ireland are taxed completely different than the rich in the United States.
Not really, because the rich in Ireland are the rich in the United States. Like, it's Apple, it's Google, it's,
Yeah. I think you're talking about individuals. I think it's individuals. Like, if I am the head of a huge company, say Google, and Jeff Bezos made 77 million in one day, wasn't it? Just a few, or 7.7 billion, or some ridiculous amount of money. but he paid no tax at all.
Yeah.
You know, so
Isn't the fact that I think it's the top 20 individuals has more wealth than the bottom 60 countries.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and those
So-
people all work for Walmart or own Walmart.
so it's again, it's a malformed question. It's impossible
It
to
is.
answer.
It's a malformed question.
It's looking for an extreme reaction. You say, yes, if they're too highly taxed, or no, they're not, because I'd like to see more taxation for earners over a certain amount. But then that comes back to, does a company have a social contract? Should they
Sorry,
be obliged?
The official figures is the world's 26 richest people own more than the poorest 50% of the population.
I would have absolutely no issue with that at all if the money was circulating, but it's not. It's being hoarded.
Being hoarded, yeah. And it's being and these are investors. These investors are in strike, so they're not even. I can't remember where I was talking about it. I was probably here the other night, where investors are on strike. So what would usually happen is that these investors would usually pay businesses and invest in businesses. Now what they're doing is they're investing with very low interest rates into economies, into actual governments. So they're giving governments loans at variable rates, but as soon as the economy starts to pick up again, it's going to go from about 4% to about 160%. So in interest, and that's in interest alone. So it's remarkable to watch that they really haven't learned from the economic bust in 2007, 2008.
So if anybody wonders why the prices keep going up, it's because the government has to pay back the loans to people like Jeff Bezos. And the only way they can do that is taking the money off of you in tax, paying it back to him, then borrowing money from him, and so on and so on and so on. Yeah. If money was being used responsibly, then that'd be fine, but it's not. It's being used to generate more money.
Oh, and look, we have a math pig.
I fucking ran back into the fucking stream. I was outside. I was trying to have a smoke in the snow, and it did not turn out that well.
There's snow?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
not
snow down here.
I've not looked outside my door today.
Yeah. We had some snow the other night, and then it rained and then froze. So now we have an ice rink.
Oh, I didn't know you guys got snow in Ireland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Currently
Snow and
snowing
rain.
where I am. So yeah.
That's cool.
Mainly rain, but snow from time to time.
Do you guys have like mountains, like tall mountains that you get snow?
We have decent sized mountains, but not not American style mountains.
Yeah.
Scotland's kinda managed to get a bit of name for itself from its hills and mountains. Not much. I mean, it's not well known or anything around the world about the Scottish hills and glens and so on. There's not been thousands of songs written about them, that sort of thing.
I think this should be shown. Just hang on, I'll copy and paste it. If you haven't seen this, I'll put it into the chat actually. If you haven't seen this, this is a man falling on the ice on RTE. Stephen, you have to have seen this.
Probably have.
I'll put it there, and I'll put it in the private chat and StreamYards as well. But yeah, he goes. They're filming the fact that we can't really deal with snow and ice, and he goes along very, very confidently, and then falls straight on his ass.
I was working when I was at university with a couple of Polish guys, Marek and Kostynia, and they came in one day, and the boss came out and said, "Look, guys, you don't have to go out today if you don't want to because of the snow." And they just burst into hysterical laughter because it was about an inch of snow.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, "Are you fucking having a laugh? The buses in Poland have snowplows on the front of them. They go through like 6 or 7 feet of snow to get people to work, and we were given the day off because it was like half an inch of snow on the grass." And they were just like, "Nah, mate.
We don't have snow towers in this part of the world. So the buses went at like 3 miles an hour, and they were still slipping and sliding."
Yeah.
So I'm happy. I'm on holidays until Wednesday, so I hope it's done by Wednesday.
So it happens every year, and yet somehow it takes us by surprise.
Why are you on holiday till Wednesday?
I started with the company in October, or September, wasn't it? I can't remember. I think it was September, October, anyway. And I'm entitled to holidays, and during the Christmas season, I was working way more than I should have, and so yeah, I kind of sprained my knee last week, and they came to me and like, you're owed days off, and I work in a warehouse, so it's like, you're owed days off. Just take it off. Just go home.
Right.
So yes.
Nice.
I've been off since Thursday.
Not
So
to
you're
kind of
recovering,
flex or
you're recovering
anything,
your
but-
knee?
Yeah. My knee is better.
Not to kind of flex or anything, but like we have paid time off by law here in Ireland, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm being paid
something
full
maybe
time.
the US should adopt. But
No, we have it's measly, but I get like 6 or 7 days sick time. Measly.
You're roboting.
Yeah.
Oh.
Do the content again.
Damn it.
you're roboting, but it's kind of like 6 or 7 days. But like, what I'm talking about is that like that's at the discretion of the employer. That like employers in the United States don't have to give their employees paid time off by law.
True.
Yeah.
True.
That's
After-
the difference. It's by law.
Yeah, true.
After 6 months, you are automatically entitled to 2 weeks paid vacation in Ireland.
Mhm.
Before that time, again, it's up to the discretion. Before 6 months being employed with the company, it's up to the discretion of the company. But at the same time, you're still kind of legally able to get 5 days off.
Mm.
So what I did was I took my 5 days off because I work 5 days a week. So what I did was I took it off from Thursday, so I'm back in work on Wednesday. So I have the weekend too.
Nice. Now, and you're right. It's not compulsory here, but I think most competitive companies in America, 2 weeks vacation is pretty standard. If after like your probation period, which is like 3 months, like 90 days, you're pretty much going to have 2 weeks of vacation. I have 3 weeks a year, which I'm not bragging about because it still sucks compared to many European countries. But yeah, I think it's pretty normal here. If you have a job with a corporation, you're going to get about a week of sick and about 2 weeks of vacation.
My employer is if you're there over a year, you get a month.
Wow. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh man, I can't get to a month till after 5 years, and I've only been there 3 years.
In the UK, we get 2 weeks summer holidays, which you have to take between the months of May and July usually. And then we have bank holidays. You don't have bank holidays in the US, but it'd be similar to like Independence Day or
National holidays.
Yeah, national holidays. But once, at least, I think it's once a month or something that averages. There's a day where everything just shuts and you get the day off paid. I think that works out to about 12 or 13 every year. So even if you've only been working in a place 2 weeks, you still get these paid bank holidays.
Yeah, we
And
get them too.
if you do go in for the bank holidays, if your company does open like mine does, you get time and a half. Or with some companies like mine, you get double time, which is awesome.
Yeah,
Double
and
bubble.
actually, I get bank holidays because I work for a bank.
Oh, there you go.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Hold on.
The job you want in the UK is school teacher because you get about 3 months off a year.
So about those questions then.
Yeah, but yeah.
You're
Okay.
slower than fucking Steven.
I
Yeah.
know. God damn it.
Just
Sorry.
going to say, so I'm up pretty early in the morning, so we're gonna try and just power on through the rest of these because I'm gonna hope that this is only going to be going for another half hour or so. Then
Okay.
again, I mean, like that said, we've been streaming for 2 hours and 15 minutes right
We're
now.
gonna power. We're not gonna elaborate. So schools should not make classroom attendance compulsory. I actually disagree with this.
Strongly
honest
disagree with that.
I disagree, and I disagree because of basically I think there's a social importance to children growing up. Okay, next. All people have their rights, but it is better for all of us that different sorts of people should keep to their own kind. Strongly disagree.
Strongly disagree.
Stephen threw a rage fit against this question. What the fuck is this question?
Yeah, I mean, that's just ridiculous. Again, race is a human construct. So going on. Good parents sometimes have to spank their children. I did hear Stephen on this. And again, I'm not going to expand a lot, but I was also spanked as a kid. But I do know the psychology involved in this, and that any type of perceived violence to your child is probably not good for their psyche. So I'm strongly disagreeing with this.
Yeah, psychologically, it's not a good idea to reinforce bad behavior.
It reinforces the idea that might is right.
Exactly.
Well, it also means that by getting that reaction, they start to believe that that kind of thing is normal. Normalized violence is never a good thing. And two, that they can only get a reaction from you if their behavior is negative, which is not a good idea.
Yeah.
Some secrets from their children or parents. I agree. No comment. Possessing marijuana for personal use should not be a criminal offense. Of course, I'm in California. It's been like basically legal here since the 90s. So
it's been legal here, and more or less, it was decriminalised here in Scotland in the mid 90s. So I've got no trouble with it at all.
Yeah,
criminalised here.
Yep.
Yeah.
One of my friends was going into a nightclub a few years back, and he had a bit of hash on him, and the bouncers searched him, and they found it, and they called the cops. And he's a school teacher, and he thought, that's it, I'm finished. The cops came, told the bouncers off for wasting their time, and gave him it back.
I think.
Okay, I hope this doesn't get Stephen. I hope this doesn't get Stephen's stream banned. But yeah, I probably would probably strongly agree with that. So sorry about that. Okay. The prime function of schooling should be to equip the future generation to find jobs. Oh my God. That's really hard.
It should be to develop them into functioning adults.
Yeah. The social aspect of school is far more important than the education.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and who cares if you don't have a job? What if you end up being like this? Well, I guess everything's a job. Okay, people with serious inheritable disabilities should not be allowed to reproduce. Oh, I strongly disagree with that. Come on.
Yeah,
no comment is needed.
No comment.
Problematic.
The most important thing for children to learn is to accept discipline. Strongly disagree with that as well. I think critical thinking is important. I mean, discipline, that's just a malformed question. Like, what's discipline? You know? Okay, so there are no savage and civilized peoples. There are only different cultures. What the
Again, it's designed to get a reaction, an emotional reaction.
We can't just outright ask, are you racist?
There are only different cultures. Okay, that's ridiculous. Okay, strongly disagree. Those who are able to work and refuse the opportunity should not expect society's support. Wow. Those who are able to work. I mean, that's a malformed question. What if you're able to work? Wow.
Here's the problem with that question. You might be visibly eligible for work, but mentally ineligible.
Well,
the other thing.
That's where I was going. That's honestly where I was going. But then I literally, that was my first thought. Is like, oh, you could be physically, but not mentally. But if you're not mentally, then you're not able to work as well.
But here's the other perspective of that. It depends on what you see as work. I don't see sitting in a boardroom once a month and saying tick, 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 tick as work. So there are people working and still getting off the state, but they get subsidies and fucking shareholders pay instead of, we don't call it job seekers. We don't call it the dole, but they are still getting state subsidies for doing fucking nothing.
Yeah, there's an issue there. So like, if assuming you are both mentally and physically capable of work, and a suitable job for your skill level is presented to you and you refuse, then that's a different thing, rather than if someone's trained as a carpenter and they give you a job as a shop assistant, then no, I'm not. Can you refuse that?
But the problem there is it looks at life too simply. What
That's
if the
the
job
best
that
part
you're
of
being
it.
offered? What if the job you're being offered is 3.5 hours away? What if the job you're being offered interferes with school work with your children or time with your
exactly.
children?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
The question's
I agree with that. I agree with that, but I think
It's too simplistic.
I mean, it is simplistic, but man, this is one of the hardest ones, to be honest with you, because
that's one of those
because any
to get a reaction
excuse you
against
can
all this.
give, any excuse you can give, whether it's like physical or mental, would just fall into the category of they're not able to work. So then to define what is the ability to work, is that you're mentally capable, you're physically capable, and at that point you're not going to work.
It's another question that's designed to get an emotional reaction.
It is.
Yeah, these bloody
And push
welfare.
push you out to the extremes.
Yeah.
It's very hard. That's a very hard one to answer how that is formed.
Stephen, you are never getting off the stream, by the way.
Stephen, are you there? Can you help me with this one?
Yeah. So I mean, like, it's something that I kind of thought of just kind of after it was braced again. But I mean, like, okay, so what if, right? You are physically able to, you are mentally able to, but you have a parent or a grandparent who lives in the same house as you who needs care. You're their effective carer, but you're not.
And you haven't been recognized.
But yeah, and exactly. But you haven't been recognized for it, and so right now you are, willing and able to work under any normal circumstances. But because of the situations at home, because of parents or grandparents, because of their additional needs, then you have to act as their carer, which means that you can't go to work, even if it's next door, even if the job that you're offering is next door. It still means that you can't leave the house that you are currently in order to go to work, because you need to care for the people who are living in that house.
So here's why I would reject that argument. Okay. Because the care of your grandparents is work. So
you're not getting paid for it.
Yes, but it's not paid work or valued work. That's the problem.
And that's why
I don't know if that's what this question says.
Society step in to financially help you, to financially benefit you, to help you in some way, so that you can afford to put food on the table, pay bills, do all these sorts of things.
Okay, I mean I guess that's a good point. That's why it's hard for me, because it's like you're still working, right?
Also, the other thing to remember is that when it comes to caring roles, there are caring roles that people engage in that certain societies will not value. So there are areas in the Middle East, there are areas in Asia, even in Europe, where caring roles are not subsidized. They are not recognized at all.
Okay. I'm going to disagree. When you are troubled, it's better to not think about it, but to keep busy with more cheerful things. Obviously, I strongly disagree.
Yeah.
No comment.
No comment needed.
Yeah, first-generation immigrants can never be fully integrated within their new country. Strongly disagree.
Mm-hmm.
That is such bullshit.
And that's even a malformed. That's even a malformed question as to why would a first-generation immigrant need to be fully integrated within their new country? I mean, you can ask that. Like you can literally move to any country and be in a community of like people that you still aren't fully integrated with what the country is doing.
Here's the issue with that question.
Part of that country.
Here's the issue with that question. Those of us who grew up in first world countries have similar cultures. So if I move to America, could I never integrate into America, even though I have the same values, I have the same language, I have the same work ethic? Could I never integrate to America? The other thing with it is, for those of different cultures, of different ethnicities, the question becomes, first of all, how young were they when they emigrated? And second of all, do you want a situation where they have to fully integrate and ignore that side of them, which is their heritage, their culture? or would you want to expand their heritage and culture and integrate it into your culture? That's the whole point of immigration.
And I would even go further and say that defining people as individuals into like cultural norms is just a false argument in the first place, because you're an individual, and I can say, I was born in California. My mom was born in California. My dad was in Alabama, which I don't know if you're familiar with the United States, but this is like literally
bit of a difference.
It's a big difference. It's a huge difference. So half my family is Trump supporting Republican rednecks versus California, who grew up with an entirely different atmosphere of mixed races and everything like that. So for me to say, you know what, that there can't be a full integration within their new country is like me saying I have more in common with a black person in California than I do with a white person in Alabama. And that's just the truth. So, that's a malformed question of what integration means. I mean, half of the United States, like you just saw, is not integrated with the other half of the United States.
Exactly.
So it's a malformed question. So what's good for the most successful corporations is always ultimately good for all of us. Strongly disagree? Okay, moving on. No broadcasting institution, however independent its content, should receive public funding.
You took issue with this, Stephen, didn't you? You had a hard time.
I had a hard time answering this. I was genuinely confused, because I was thinking like there's no really like one right answer. I genuinely think that there's arguments on both sides for this.
I can see your arguments because however independent its content. I mean, honestly, since the public is over the entire spectrum, so there is no bias amongst the public, right? Because it covers every spectrum. If you're independent of that spectrum, then why not? Why not receive public funding? I mean, that makes sense to me.
Okay, we have a situation in Ireland where we have RTE, which is the national broadcaster. Then we have RTE, Radio Television Éireann, and we have another one, Virgin Media, so which used to be TV3. Virgin Media is a private corporation. RTE is state-run. It is written into the contract, or what it was, because I've read the contract previously for RTE, that you cannot go against the government of the day, which is remarkable.
They're independent.
That's a state-run. It's completely state-run. And then the question then became, a lot of people stopped paying their TV license because it only went to RTE, because the content that they carry on RTE was not reflective, or didn't feel reflective of the society that we live in. It's strictly bound to very strict social norms that is dictated by the government of the day.
So, I mean, I guess this question would have to be expounded, because it's just saying however independent its content. And so you have an example of where the state run is actually kind of saying you can't go against, certain state policies or whatever.
Which is a lot of state-run companies, actually, media outlets anyway. If you look at a dictatorship, you will find that they will have one media outlet only, and that will be the voice of the government.
So that's not entirely the way it is in the United States. Like, for example, we have PBS, which is, it receives public funding, but it's a pretty neutral media. They don't really go left or right. They're just reporting the news.
Whereas in some countries you have a propaganda machine. So the question is, when a private group or an independent group come along and give independent voice or different voices, should they then be propagated, helped in any way, shape or form by the state? Just the state run.
Well, I understand. I mean, this is a difficult question, because the word independent does not tell you what a bias is out of independent. You can be an independent in America, but have complete bias, right?
Yeah.
And so if you're independent and have complete bias, should you receive public funding? No. Should Ben Shapiro, receive public funding because he's independent? Absolutely not. So if that's the nature of this question, I'm going to say I strongly disagree.
Okay. In the UK, we have the BBC, which is entirely public funded.
Right.
You pay your license fee. And for me personally, having grown up with it, I can see its benefits. And I believe that every civilized nation should have a publicly funded, politically independent broadcaster.
No, I agree. I'll even go further. I think there should be I think there should be a source of fact checking of all journalists. So you literally have a site that is dedicated to news that actually rates bias amongst journalism.
Well, the problem we have is in the UK with the BBC, they're constantly fighting with the government about their funding. But the left wing complain that it's got a right wing bias. The right wing complain that it's got a left wing bias. Because you can't obviously be completely unbiased. You have to have, if you're reporting on what's going on with a right wing government, then the news is necessarily right wing.
It also comes back to the idea of what is news, what is actual journalism, particularly for when it comes to news, because everyone has an opinion and everyone is entitled to know those opinions. Like what you said, Ben Shapiro. I don't agree with Ben Shapiro one bit. Do I think he should not be allowed to spout his bullshit? No, I think he should.
Yeah, I agree.
So the question then becomes, what is news? What is worthy of being deemed journalism in order to get that state sponsorship kind of thing?
Yeah,
that's why it's so hard.
I mean, I know that early in, like the early 1900s, there was strict we call it yellow journalism laws, where you couldn't just spout bad facts, and you would be considered a yellow journalist, which is you're not telling facts. And that's totally disappeared amongst, and again, we talked about that, Rupert Murdoch, who controls newspapers in the UK, Australia, and the United States. It's just significant propaganda. And so there should be strengthening of information laws that direct, especially in a world where people are going to Twitter to get their news. There definitely should be laws of like saying, hey, this is an opinion piece versus actual fact. And this is the rise of QAnon. This is the rise of people who believe in flat Earth. It is literally out of, we just don't understand the news we're getting. And so we're believing all this crap we see on YouTube, for example. I think, like I said before, I think it's the third biggest problem as far as our society going forward.
Well, isn't that one of the big issues with Australia at the moment with Google? Because there's a new media law that came in, and Google don't like it.
They're going to get out. They're going to get out of Australia if they go through with that. Absolutely. Okay. Our civil liberty. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Our civil liberties are being excessively curbed in the name of counterterrorism. Well, excessively. Okay.
Not for us, but for Americans under the Patriot Act.
Obviously the Patriot Act, and
it's one example.
Yeah, I mean, is that excessive?
Well, you don't need probable cause in order to monitor someone. I'd say that's kind of excessive.
Yeah.
I mean, in the UK, there are people who consider it excessive to have to carry some form of ID.
Yeah.
No, I'm just thinking, like, what's the trade-off of basically seeing everybody's business versus protecting you in the name of that business? I'm trying to think about that. It's probably excessive.
It's
probably excessive.
All these right-wing tropes going around, so like, oh, they're taking away our liberties. Is that really? Name one.
Well, right. Me and Stephen come from a country that talk about ruling. When we have the police force, they rule by consent. So they don't carry weapons except for a baton and mace. They have strict guidelines of when they can intervene in an issue. And so for us, you need to have done something in order for a police officer to search your home. You need, under the Patriot Act in the US, those rules are suspended. And if you are thought, if they even think that you have anything to do, if you had coffee in the same coffee shop as someone that's suspected to be a terrorist, they could just throw away those rules and surveil you.
No, I know. And
So
actually,
that's
I know.
the question.
Actually, no, because what I do for the bank I told you guys about is I run our business continuity program. And so I know all about the OFAC, which we call as the list of terrorists and drug dealers, which is comes through every day.
Yeah, it does start from the position. And this is what I would have a problem with if it was me. It does start from the position that everybody is guilty.
I agree with that. And I'd even go further is the Patriot Act came out of Islamic terrorism, and you would have to agree that domestic terrorism and even just like gangs in the United States kill way more people than any Islamic terrorist ever has. And so it kind of puts tons of people on that list that probably don't belong on the list.
It's the rise of profiling as well.
I agree. Okay. I agree with you guys on this.
I love these discussions, by the way.
Okay. So a significant advantage of a one-party state is that it avoids
Can't even get through the question.
I'm sorry, I had to laugh right at one party. The arguments that delay progress in a democratic political system. Oh my God. I've probably always argued that we should get rid of the two-party system. And, I often said there should be either no party or 10 parties. And people mostly agree with me, or not agree with me, will, when I say that, say they point to Europe and say, well, you know what, there's like 10 parties in Europe, and one party can get like 5% of the vote and they come to power. And I say, so be it. I'm fine with that.
In Scotland, we have two systems that run simultaneously. We have the traditional first past the post, which whoever gets the most votes is in power. But we also have regional. I forgot. The term has just slipped my mind. Oh, I'll come back to it. Sorry, it slipped my mind.
No, so I obviously in America, you have someone like Bernie Sanders, who was an independent, who had to switch to the Democrat side just to get funding, and they still stole the election from him twice, by the way.
I do think it's an oxymoron to have a one party and democratic in the same sentence.
Yeah, it's like saying a monarchy, right? It's like saying.
Yeah. I mean, if there's only one party to choose from, that's not really what democracy is about.
That's a monarchy. That's why I said this is just a ridiculous question. Okay.
Well, it's closer to fascism than it is monarchy, but
yeah. Okay, next. Although the electronic age makes official surveillance easier, only wrongdoers need to be worried. Okay, that's a strongly disagree. I mean, I probably don't even have to comment on that, but anybody following actual foreign policy right now knows that China is completely moving through the world, setting up 5G in countries like Brazil and probably the Philippines, and they are literally setting up surveillance across the entire world. So let's just say
Huawei was kicked out of the UK.
I mean, you can literally look at the agreements they have made with countries in South America to set up 5G, which literally, it's not just 5G. They put up cameras, an entire security camera surveillance system in cities that they run.
Hang on, wasn't it the Xbox that didn't have an off button? So I'm sorry, it's not just fucking China. They all do it. The only reason why we hear about China doing it is because the US has a problem with them getting away with it, and the US being challenged on it.
I agree with that. I agree with that. I mean, I
have to challenge that.
I agree with that, and the fact that every time you do a search on Google and all of a sudden you see a commercial that is dedicated just to you, is the fact that they just recorded some data based on your preference. So
that is surveillance. That is selling of information, and they all do it. Thank you, Edward Snowden.
I agree.
What I kind of found like, weird, and it's kind of vaguely on the same topic, but like, I have a speaker downstairs in my kitchen, and it has the Google Voice Assistant built into it, right? And so if you say, I'm not going to say it now because I'll probably trigger like several devices, but if you say, if you talk to Google, right, and like then say something, right, like what's the weather outside, it'll tell you what the weather is and everything outside that, right? But if you turn the microphone off at the back, and then you still say those two words to talk to Google, it will tell you that the microphone is off. How do you know that the microphone is off? Unless you're fucking listening to me. Like,
that is crazy.
How do you recognize that I've said those two words if the microphone is off? These are the questions.
There's another microphone.
It's like, do you know what I mean? It's weird, like.
That's insane. Yeah, I always said that the singularity is going to probably come through Google Analytics eventually. But okay.
Back to the questions.
Yeah.
I digress. This one's hard for me. Maybe it's not hard. The death penalty should be an option for the most serious crimes. I guess I disagree.
It removes the possibility.
I guess I disagree with the pure humanity of that you shouldn't kill things, I guess.
For me, it's a case of it removes the possibility of rehabilitation.
Right. Well, I'm going to agree with the premise and say I would disagree with the death penalty anyway. But the reason why I don't think everybody can be rehabilitated, especially repeat offenders of serious crimes, but I also don't think that because they're imprisoned or because they're in that system, it does not mean that they're not a benefit to the wider society. They can be. That's my feeling on it.
Yeah, you could take a serious violent criminal, who's committed countless offences. Say, right, we're going to just kill this guy. He's a menace. Right, that's it. Done. That's utilitarianism. He's gone. But he could be in prison for 25 years and write a treatise on the human condition that could change society as we know. But we never find out because we hanged him.
Or give us an idea as to what kind of what his mind is like, why people turn violent. Like that's a huge benefit to society.
A test subject,
Hello to Mama Atheist. Hello,
Mama Atheist.
I mean, this is so hard for me, and Stephen will be the first to tell you that the first time I came on his stream, the first time I came on Stephen's stream, this is only my second time, but the first time we had a person who killed someone in a drunk driving accident. Remember that, Stephen?
Mm-hmm.
And he got off in 3 years. Like he only spent 3 years in jail.
Can I just sorry to interrupt. Can I just I got distracted there. Stephen is a massive Relublican.
Massive Relublican. So sorry.
The worst kind.
I can't even blame that on like bad autocorrect. I just typed that. I'm sorry.
Sorry, continue.
I'm dyslexic as well, so
I was just saying this question is very hard because during that live stream that he had someone on that actually committed manslaughter, I was really harsh on that guy. I literally was basically more or less saying, if I killed someone by manslaughter, I would want to forfeit my own life. And so,
but I mean, the problem with that is then you don't, I mean, manslaughter is different, but the issue then is, do you serve your time for the penalty of doing the crime? If especially like I've lost people to drunk driving, and the question then is it satisfying to know that your life is snuffed out, or do you take the position to say I don't like the idea of seeing someone in their worst mistake. I don't see the point in seeing someone's whole life in their one mistake. I would rather take that one mistake and turn it back into something useful.
I mean, this is the most awesome argument for me, in all honesty, because it really comes down to your own feelings about revenge. Like, do you want revenge for that person versus, in this case, his name was John that came in. He was a very honest guy. I don't have any hate for him at all, because as a human being, putting myself in his role, obviously I wouldn't want to be in jail for 20 years, but he did get out in 3 years. And I was kind of harsh on him, but ultimately, if you're a human being and you think that someone can be rehabilitated, even after drunk driving and killing someone, if there is a time that you think that person can be rehabilitated, should you then give that person compassion because they have become rehabilitated?
Not necessarily compassion. I wouldn't say that you have to be compassionate, but it's the line between justice and revenge.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, look, right. I'm the only female here. Yep. I have been a victim of serious sexual crimes. And one of the things that I find is a lot of people say, do you not want revenge? Do you not want this person to die? Do you not want this person to spend the rest of their life in prison? And again, like the impact on my life was profound. It was quite profound.
I'm sorry.
But at the same time, you do have to think of the wider situation. And this is the problem with injecting emotion into law. The one size fits all doesn't work. And so it has to be done on a case by case basis. So the question is, like, before that person was a very close friend of mine. Do I judge that one person who was sexually violent towards me in that one instance of savagery? And that's the only word that I can.
Yes, you do.
You do in the point that I will never put myself in that situation with that person again. But the question is, does his life then become meaningless, or does he have the ability to learn from it and to talk to other men about it, to say, do not go down this road. I made this mistake. It was the worst mistake of my life. Now, if he doesn't learn, then lock him up for the rest of his life. But he could be a great writer. He could be a great painter. He could give insights, as I said, into what he was thinking when he commits these crimes, and that could help save the next person. Do you know what I mean?
Again, I appreciate your honesty. I appreciate your honesty. That's so hard. I mean, that really comes down to human nature of forgiveness, right?
An example, right? In Scotland a few years ago, there was a man's unknown child sex offender, right? Disappeared, right, out of his community. And a week or so later, they found him chopped into little pieces and dumped in various dumpsters and bins around the community. And a lot of people were going, yes, good, that's a good thing, he's gone.
That's vigilantism, though.
But it never occurred to them that there's at least one person capable of murdering someone and chopping them up.
Right.
Who now live in their community. And for me, that's far more terrifying.
Yep.
Yeah.
My logic for why I said no to it is because 6% of the time they get the wrong person, and 1% is too high, so 6% is more than enough for me to say that I disagree with the death penalty.
What George W. Bush said, I can't remember the name of it. It's a community of lawyers and law students in America who look at death row cases, and they found like a fairly large percentage of them, more than 6%, were actually innocent.
Yeah.
And they petitioned the government, and George W. Bush said, his exact words, I think, were, innocence does not guarantee release. Simply because you're...
Yeah, sorry, just come in. I know, right? Sorry, just coming back to what Soldier Sign said there about the person that commit manslaughter that wanted their life to be taken or forfeit. It then says to the person that's committing these crimes that you're not salvageable, that you're not useful, that you deserve that. Again, in your weakest moment, in your worst moment of humanity, that you deserve the worst to happen to you. And as a system of law, that's not really workable.
Yeah, but with that said, that I don't think anybody that ultimately gets the death penalty was thinking that they're going to get the death penalty when they were committing that crime. So I don't necessarily think that that's a deterrent, and even more so, I don't necessarily think that being in jail, like about to be committed to death for the next 10 years, is better or worse than being in jail forever. And what I mean by that is, like, I think if you're going to be put to death, the psychological ramification on your brain of just waiting to be put to death is torture. You know,
Yeah, and it depends on what system. In the American system, yes. In Middle Eastern systems, you're killed that very same day.
Right,
you
right.
don't really get that 10-year waiting period. You don't get
Right.
reviews. You don't get any of
No, you're
parole
right.
ideas. No, you're
You get a sword to the head.
Yeah, if you're put to death, it's within a week. You're gone.
Yep. Okay.
Still don't agree with it.
Moving on. Agree. And this goes to, in criminal justice, punishment should be more important than rehabilitation. Okay, of course, strongly disagree. It is a waste of time to rehabilitate some criminals. Okay, strongly disagree. Wow, we have a series of these. Okay. The business person and the manufacturer are more important than the writer and the artist. Oh, wow. This is a philosophical. The business person and the manufacturer are more important than the writer and the artist.
It's again trying to, yeah, for the issue of the test, it's designed to say, do you value business like structure over art? Because art and entertainment is always is predominantly seen as more left wing.
Yeah, that's again very valid.
I wouldn't even say perceived as more left wing as versus what it does for your economy. You know, I don't know what this question is pertaining to.
The extreme right wing is always anti-arts. It's always anti-theatre funding for the arts. You see it in right wing newspapers, and especially on the TV in America, where you see some art.
Yeah, because any form of expression that doesn't conform to the norm is a bad thing to someone that's authoritarian.
You'll see a case of whataboutism across the right wings, like a small theatre was given £100,000 grant, and we then go, yeah, but our pensioners are starving and our soldiers are on the streets. Well, they're completely separate issues. You know?
Right.
But again, the right wing has always been traditionally anti the arts. So again, that question is designed to get an emotional response.
Yeah, it's a horrible question in the fact that I don't know what the goal of this question is. Like the business person and the manufacturer are more important. More important for what? For life?
Well,
more important for the economy of a society? You know,
well,
I don't understand that.
When Stephen answered this question in the chat, I said, no one has ever said, you know, oh, did you see the milk round this morning? It was absolutely mind-blowing. But at the same time, I can't put Star Wars in my tea. You know, so they're both equally valid and important in a society.
Yeah.
For very different reasons.
Yep. No, I agree with that. Like if you're defining importance as what your meaning of life is, if we just say that, like importance to you is what your meaning of life is, then this is negated. It doesn't matter what you are.
The question's more lean towards, do you value yourself through your monetary value?
Yeah.
Are you successful if you have money?
Don't we still have 2 more pages of this?
No, we're almost done. Hold on. Wait. I think, where are we? Might be the last one. Wait, not the last one, but maybe one. Okay, mothers.
I did kind of just like shoot through. What was it? Page 5. Like
5
is
fair.
I did shoot through 5.
And I picked a bunch while you guys were talking, so I'm like skipping a bunch. Okay, so mothers may have careers, but their first duty is to be homemakers. Strongly disagree. Okay, moving on. Multinational companies are unethically exploiting the plant genetic resources of developing countries. Can I say I don't know?
Well, I mean that would refer to the avocado issue, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big issue at the moment. So what's happening is that there are whole populations in South America who are not getting proper access to water because all of the water is being filtered towards the large avocado farms so that Westerners can eat their fucking avocados.
Yeah.
And not just avocados, right? Like, isn't there like what's the other one? Is it
palm oil and avocado?
Yes, exactly. Palm oil. Yeah, that's exactly where I was going.
That's another one. Yeah.
I can imagine you see these, the hipsters sitting with their fair trade coffee and their avocado toast.
That's where I was going. I was going
no
with
idea what Don't talk to me about anti-capitalism when you're smoking a cigarette and eating avocado toast.
I can't say anything. I do drink coffee a lot.
Okay, so have you done what some people are now doing, and have you ever drank a latte out of an avocado?
Fuck no. I don't like avocados, so no.
Genuinely, what's fucking happening, by the way?
I think you just...
Anyway, do you guys have Starbucks? Do you have Starbucks in Ireland?
We do. I never go to Starbucks.
Yeah, Starbucks.
Do you know why they call it a latte at Starbucks?
It's a cafe latte, actually, but yeah. Why?
Because it costs you a lot of money every time you go to Starbucks. Okay. Anyway, making peace.
That hurt. That hurt my brain.
Okay, this one's hard for me. I don't know what this means.
Okay.
Making peace with the establishment is an important aspect of maturity.
Oh, this one also made Stephen rage.
What does that mean?
Yeah.
Stephen raged at this question. It was hilarious.
What does that mean?
A solid 10 minutes, right? Or like, no, I'm going to say 5. I'm going to say a solid 5 minutes. I just raged at this for.
Yeah, there's this kind of idea that you grow...
Just because I don't know what the hell that means. Okay.
There's this idea that you grow more right wing as you get older, and you stop trying to fight against the system, and just become part of the Borg, if you like. You used to accept that the way it is, and you can't fight it. But
do you think you should make friends with the establishment in order to change things, or in order to bring about what you want? It's highly fucking suspect.
You can't, because the apparatus.
I mean, the establishment changes throughout history. What's the establishment? I mean, you can be right or left with the establishment in various spots of history. So
I'd say it's two-pronged. Of course you have to work with them. Of course you have to, and this is why I'm more center. You have to make friends in the establishment in order to bring about small changes, but large-scale changes have to come from society. So, for instance, the best form of this was marriage equality in Ireland. We would not have gotten that if Fine Gael was not on board. They repealed the 8th. We had all parties on board for that. That meant going into offices of TDs, of elected representatives that we fucking hated. Right. Going in and sitting there and talking and going back and making these people friends so they no longer saw us as enemies. Like that was huge.
I mean, that whole argument is the entire Republicans with Trump, right? like all of the Republicans bowed down to Trump because they were afraid to lose power in their seats. And now that Trump is gone, they're pretty much like, well, except for the hardcore Trumpists, but the actual Republicans are like, well, that dude's gone. I don't have to suck up to him, and
Well, at the same time, you need to do separate actions. So, for instance, you had again drawing on Irish experience. I don't know if you were around for it, Stephen, but I remember standing firmly in Apollo House when we took over Apollo House as citizens, because a homeless man died feet from the Parliament because of the cold. Because there was no place for the homeless to actually go, so we took over a building and we housed the homeless until they actually got it into their heads that we needed more housing and we needed more homeless shelters too, and they had to have conditions on them which they didn't have before because they were private enterprises. So I mean, you have to take separate steps, but yeah, you do have to work with the system sometimes in order to get what you want or what you need immediately.
I agree. Okay, moving on. This is going to be quick. Astrology accurately explains many things. Strongly disagree. That's you shouldn't even ask that. You cannot be moral without being religious. Strongly disagree. I'm not religious. Okay, Moving on. Parity is better than Social Security as a means of helping the genuinely disadvantaged. Strongly disagree, because charity is like, that's random. Like, who gets the charity? Okay, moving on. Some people are naturally unlucky. I don't believe in luck, so strongly disagree. Look at this, page 5, almost done. It is important that my child's school instills religious values. I don't believe in religion, so strongly disagree. Look at this. We're on page 6.
All right, before you go ahead, I do love Math Pig's comment in the chat. I give everyone a chance to be my friend, but you burn me, I set your house on fire.
Yeah.
Well, no, come on, man. Don't set people's houses on fire.
Yeah,
I just think it's funny.
I just want to draw attention. Like,
Agreed.
yeah, I do agree. I do agree with you, Amanda. I do agree.
Okay.
Yeah, can I just say, a lot of people in the GOP were saying much, much, much worse than Trump before Trump ever became a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And look,
No, I
much
agree.
as-
I agree, but I think that there is a clear difference now between actual Republicans and you saw the different groups that were
No,
anti-Trump.
no. I
The
disagree.
Lincoln Project. You saw all these groups. There is a difference between people who believe in traditional Republican policies, which are still, suspect, versus Trumpists, in my opinion. Like people who fell into the cult of Trump, I think, is a difference between Republicans and Trumpists.
Hold on. All right. So Sandy Hook happened. Parklands happened.
Yep.
Obama brought families in to hear the debate. What was the reaction by the GOP? Probably
conspiracy theories that it never happened, right?
He was opportunistic for bringing families affected by gun violence to listen to a debate on gun violence. That was the response from the GOP. Tell me that's different to what Trump would say. Of course it's not.
No. I just think there's a lot of differences between typical. Like, I think most of, I would say, people who are 50 years older believe in the Reagan Republicans versus who would be by now terms considered to be like way left
Mitch McConnell.
Well, yeah, McConnell's horrible. But again, what I'm saying is McConnell was sucking up to Trump, and look what happened as soon as they realized that Trump was not going to be reelected. He's kicked him to the curb.
McConnell was sucking up to Trump for the last 4 years. McConnell's been a Republican senator for the last 40 years. So you can't suddenly just go, it was Trump that made him say those things, because he's been saying exactly the same things for the last 40 years.
The only difference was that Trump legitimized it on an unveiled national scale. That's the only difference. He said it's okay to say these things publicly. They were saying the exact same things and worse behind closed doors to sponsors. And
I kind of agree with that. I mean, obviously, Mitch McConnell made it.
Hang on. I'm not a big fan of the Occupy movement, but one of the things that the Occupy movement did was they went and paid to get into some of these conferences, these businessmen conferences, to do their little mic check shit. But what they did was they listened to what their representatives were saying to the business class. And it was worse. Some of it was worse than what Trump has said publicly.
There's a paper.
I don't know that. I will agree with you that Mitch McConnell obviously made it his goal to reverse everything that Obama did, which was very racist in itself. Like, hey, let's just stop what the black man is doing. And there was probably a bunch of the GOP who kind of followed that. And you have to understand that Mitch McConnell he has one of the most powerful positions in the world, and is from a state that is the most redneck state in the United States. Kentucky is literally is literally one of the most least educated state. It's people who bare knuckle fist fight and are predominantly inbred. I'm sorry, Kentucky. I had to say it. But that's the case.
Keela, did you see the press release from Jacob Rees-Mogg's wife that was leaked just today or yesterday, I think?
I started reading it, but then had to do something else.
It was entitled how do you profit from the world's water crisis?
Yeah, I mean, I talk about it a lot in terms of like Naomi Klein's The Shock Doctrine talked about how a lot of them looked at Hurricane Katrina as, yes, it was an awful atrocity to happen. It was devastating, but it was also an opportunity. And so what they did was they went into New Orleans, stripped it of the state schools, and put in private schools into. So I think New Orleans was left with like 4 public schools. And the rest were privatized.
Crafty, I have to say, I'm amazed in your knowledge of American politics. It's pretty amazing.
I studied sociology. I think that was kind of required.
I'm just saying, I don't know Irish politics. So.
Yeah, we have a strong relationship. We do have a strong relationship with the US, and usually what happens in the US is going to be rolled out in Europe at some point. So it's good to get a heads up.
We've got a kind of a Donald Trump light and Boris Johnson.
Oh yeah, Boris Johnson. Yeah.
Even looks like him. So yeah.
Yep.
A wider.
I was just going to say this. Stick around to the end of because look, I as well know quite a lot about US politics and stuff like that. I have a little bit of an announcement that's going to be coming up at the end of the stream, so just stick around for that.
Okay, so this is the last page. We're gonna roll through it, guys. So
we said that an hour ago.
No. This is quick. This is quick. I'm looking at these questions. This is easy. Sex outside marriage is usually immoral. Strongly disagree. Okay, a same-sex couple in a stable, loving relationship should not be excluded from the possibility of child adoption. Strongly agree. Come on. Pornography depicting consenting adults should be legal for the adult population. Strongly agree. See? Super easy. This is easy stuff. What goes on in a private bedroom between consenting adults is no business of the state. Strongly agree. Come on, guys. No comments. No one can feel naturally homosexual.
They're basically saying that homosexuality isn't natural.
No.
Yeah, or that like
homosexuality is a choice. Well, if that's true,
it's a choice.
It's not a choice.
Yeah, if that's true, then
it's not a choice.
So if you've chosen to be heterosexual, it means you're actually gay, but you've chosen to be hetero.
Did I choose to be straight? No. Okay, so these days, openness about sex has gone too far.
I don't feel it's gone far enough.
Openness. You know what? This is an interesting question because I don't think
20 minutes.
I don't think your sex. I don't think your preference for sex should even be like. Why should you discuss that? To me, that's like your private conversation. Like, I don't have to know whether you're straight or gay. Like,
no. That's about kink shaming.
That's not what the question's asking.
Yeah,
the question.
That's about kink shaming, right? So
sexuality be discussed openly. Yes, of course it should.
Or it's not just sexuality, it is sexual preferences as well.
Yeah.
Going beyond just sexuality, but like what you're into.
Especially in Scotland and Ireland.
Should there be kink shaming?
No, there should never be kink shaming.
Yeah, no, definitely not. I mean, obviously that the fact that we put sex into a taboo corner of discourse is probably wrong in the first place, right?
Agreed.
Yeah. Yep.
So,
we still use the language of, ooh, that's dirty.
Yeah, no.
It's something to be ashamed of.
No, okay. So that was the last question.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's the world put to rights.
I kind of hoped we would be here for 20 minutes discussing that one, just to piss off Stephen.
Oh man, you thought I was going to go somewhere. No, I agreed with you. Okay, so I am going to see where I stand.
Math Pig.
No, sorry. I'm going to draw the line at that, Math Pig. That's not a kink. That's a perversion.
Math Pig, should we show people that mankini?
No, we agreed.
Because Keela has the gift apparently to hand.
So. Good God, no. Why would you have that? Why would you keep that?
Why would you not have that?
Well, I can think of 10 reasons offhand.
Let's just pop it into the chat. Shall we?
Oh.
Yes, yes. He wants it. He wants it in the chat. Let's just pop it into the chat. There you go. Enjoy, people.
He did ask.
Well,
See, it seems like a perfectly reasonable way to end the stream.
I strongly disagree.
Are you able to screen share just to
Me?
see your results?
Huh?
Oh, Soldier.
What, sir?
Are you able
Yeah,
to?
You know what?
Jerry,
I don't know
you're-
how to do that, and I was like looking, and I can't tell what it's
Down the
telling me.
bottom,
down the
of
bottom.
the screen, it says mute, start cam,
Okay,
mic,
okay.
and start screen.
Okay, cool.
So you should be able to. Because it's not like Zoom that gives you permissions
Okay.
to prevent people from doing it.
Okay, can you guys see?
No, you have to actually press the share screen. And then, so what will come up
Oh, okay,
is a
sorry,
little
sorry.
window. And you have to click the window
Yeah.
and share audio if there's audio on it. There you
How about
are.
now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is this?
So just bring,
Oh,
yes,
you're-
just bring up the yeah. So scroll. That's just kind of explaining it or whatever.
So scroll down, scroll down, scroll down, scroll down, scroll down, all the way down, all the way down, all the way
Oh,
down.
the way. Okay.
Your desktop is so untidy.
Oh, here.
Yeah.
He's a left.
Wow.
Wow.
Jesus, son, you're fucking more left than I am.
Wow. Sorry, guys.
Nice. Nice.
Sorry, guys.
Good.
Too left.
No, I mean,
Shall I show you where my one it was?
Yep. How do I stop? How do I stop sharing?
I'll just take it
Yeah,
off.
there
Yeah,
you go.
I'll just.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Hang on.
Or down on or like down on that same bar where share screen just kind of stops screen.
That was my one.
Oh, okay, we're close.
I'm actually surprised. I'm actually
That's-
surprised.
Yeah.
Exactly where Stephen was.
I was a little bit. I was a little when I was a sock dem. I was just a little bit lower on that, like, but on that roughly kind of same area than you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm more centered than I am left.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Damn, I'm a damn lefty. Sorry, guys.
Whoop whoop. But again, those questions were awful.
Yeah.
They were awful. They were awful.
Yeah, some of them were genuinely terrible.
But
Well, thanks, guys, again for letting me join. Crafty, where's your link? I'll add you and Tusk too.
Steven,
don't subscribe to
Steven,
my channel.
you drop my link because I can't be arsed finding it.
I keep saying this to people: don't subscribe to my channel unless you're interested
Don't
in watching
subscribe,
me
man.
garden, cook, or and just generally talk shite.
I'm just going to just for a moment, just because. So that is my result.
Oh, see, we're not too far off.
I'm more left than you. That's not right.
I'm more left than you too.
That's not right.
Well, apparently.
I'm economic left minus 7.25, and social libertarian authoritarian minus
Thank you,
7.9.
Mathig. Mathig
Oh yes,
just
yes,
shared
thank
it.
you, Matt. So yeah, it's what was I going to say? So yes, now that we're kind of that we're finally into the fucking wrapping up segment. By the way, Keela, you had fucking said like, "Oh my god, how is Stephen going to turn what took me 15 minutes into like a whole stream? It took me an hour to do it. This has been 2 and 12 minutes. So
Yes, but you've had
Anyway.
more voices.
Yeah, you had more
More
voices.
dissenting voices.
You had more voices.
that is true, but we're not judging me right now.
Oh, I am. I'm always judging you.
So, what was literally confirmed? Well. So, in the last couple of days, I've been trying to organize a debate.
I've seen about this, yeah.
So, we organized all of the participants, and we've contacted a host. And dates are still in talks, although this has been like agreed to, and it's coming up. So myself and Leo Filius, who is a friend of the
Yeah, I know
the
Leo.
channel, he's kind of he's
Good bloke.
a nice guy. Me and Leo will be debating CJ Cox and Smokey Saint
Oh, wow.
Oof.
on Modern Day Debate. on the topic socialism versus capitalism, because me and Leo are both socialists, and yeah, they're
that'll be cool.
I mean, they're hacks, but like, you know,
I can't wait.
Yeah, it's like Democrat bad and the Republicans good. Like, that's their entire thing. Like, it doesn't matter if they're conflicting, whatever. Anyway.
Well, if you want someone independent to read over what these are going to say, if you have any, yeah, I'm here.
I mean, like, basically, like, so me and Leo kind of said that we were going to be discussing kind of like strategies like a day or so before the actual debate was supposed to be happening. What my proposed one, now this could change, this could happen exactly as I'm saying it, but my proposed one is I'm going to let Leo kind of like explain exactly what a socialist society would look like. And I'm going to spend my half of the opening kind of like debunking some of the shit that like right-wingers say about socialism. So just for example, right, they'll like, how many times have you heard a right-winger say, well, name one successful socialist country? Okay, are we to discount the socialist countries that were there big and that crashed because of the great oil spill or disaster or something like that in 1979? Okay, are we to discount those because of socialism or because of that? Well, you know, that's up to them. Are we to count all of the socialist countries that have been entirely destabilized by the US government? Are we to count that as a failure of socialism or not? Those sorts of things, right? Because it's like, that's how they'll paint it. They'll say, oh, well, this failed because of socialism. Well, no, not really. Something else that I'm going to be talking about that came up far too much in the upcoming or in the last election was people calling Biden a socialist. Biden is not a socialist. He's a diet Republican. He's a Republican light. Stop calling him a fucking socialist.
Actually, he's not. He's a socialist Democrat.
Sorry, can I just say, Math Pig is a bit upset.
Yeah.
Don't run away, Math Pig. I wasn't invited either, so
it's
whatever.
What?
Whatever.
We're invited to what?
Yeah, I know, Math Pig. I get it.
I am genuinely confused what you're talking about. What the fuck?
Math Pig knows. Continue.
No, I was going to say it's going to be hard because you have to find countries that are truly socialist and not.
Yeah, most of Europe is.
Oh, he froze.
Most of Europe is socialist.
He looks utterly confused. Sorry, Soldier, you froze there.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, guys.
To be wary of, especially with these kind of people, is they'll always try and conflate socialism with communism.
Right.
And always state capitalism with communism. They'll bring up Russia and China, or they're socialist, communist. No, those
they're
are
actually state capitalist.
It's not communism or socialism. So that's a trick they always use. And then they'll bring up Venezuela.
I mean, look at like definitely one thing that I plan on asking, like, because there's like during the kind of like free exchange and stuff like that, right? There's always, you know, a chance to kind of ask the opposite side questions, right? This is, you know, obvious. One of the questions that I plan on asking. Oh, did he jump out?
He probably just dropped. Just watch out for him coming back in.
No, he said he posted something in the private chat that he was going to sign off. Thanks, guys, so much for having me. Oh, thanks. I'm kind of sorry I didn't.
Bye, Soldier.
Goodbye. Yeah, you know, bye, dude. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
Yeah, but one of the questions that I plan on asking Smokey is to define socialism, and then just wait and probably laugh. Yeah, he's going to get it wrong.
Right. Here's the issue that you're going to face. First of all, your argument. We can actually talk about this another time. I do think you and Leo should actually have a chat. Well, here's what you're going to face. You're going to have to explain what you mean by socialism. So, what would the structure be? How you propose to transition into a socialist society, because they will bring up the arguments that everyone is naturally greedy, and you know, if everyone tries hard enough, they can reach their goals. Blah blah. But then you're also going to have to explain why this system that you're proposing is better than capitalism, than what we have. And that's going to be a hard sell, because there will be people who believe in capitalism. I believe in capitalism if the right amount of structure is placed on it. So if you want a little bit of a pushback against your arguments before you go up against these fucking idiots, because for me, and I've said this on other streams, for me, it's never about who you're debating. This is the best piece of advice I can give you about debating. It is never, ever who you are debating against. It is who is listening. Who is listening to your debate and who you can win over to your ideas.
Yeah.
That's what you want. That's how you want to approach every debate. So how can you get your message across efficiently? So if you want a little bit of a devil's advocate, I'm here.
Mathpig loves you.
I love you, Mathpig.
So yeah, I totally understand and agree with basically everything that you've just said. Yeah, you don't like. I can't remember who I heard it from, but I like heard this, and I might be paraphrasing slightly, but you're not debating the opponent. You're trying to convince the audience. Like that's what debates are. Soldier is there. Thank you so much, man, for coming on. I'm so sorry I didn't get a proper chance to kind of, thank you. Kind of, I know I'm going to say face to face, even though it's not really, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, it was a cool conversation with Soldier.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so like as I kind of said, like I like that was my proposed thing anyway, was that I just kind of like pick off like a few of these like major talking points that you've heard like 1,000 times to Sunday, and then have Leo kind of like describe what a socialist society would like look like, and as you had kind of said, and I'm sure he probably would have brought that up anyway, was how you get there. I mean, like how many times during the primaries did we hear like everybody left, right, and center asking, "Well, how is Bernie going to pay for healthcare?"
It's the same. It's the same over here. It's the same over here.
Yeah. But
even with Jeremy Corbyn, with People Before Profit and the Labour Party, when they were going Sinn Féin, how are you going to pay for it? How are you going to pay for it? So you definitely need proper answers to that. Now, again, if you want to go through some of your talking points, me, you, and Neil can sit down one of the days before and have a proper discussion about it. And I can play devil's advocate because, again, some of the fun of it is going up against the best, and I know these cons aren't the best, but going up against the best arguments and still coming out of it with your point of view being clear, and you're not capitulating to the argument that these guys are going to try draw you into. That's part of the problem. That's the biggest pitfall that debaters find. They actually get dragged into the arguments of their opponents.
Yeah, you see this too often I see it on Modern Day Debates, and Matt Dillahunt, he's what's it called, Atheist Experience, when he does the debate. It's like, who won the debate? That's not the point of the debate. You're not there to win, But that's
you're there to give an opinion, a perspective.
I'm going to give a little bit of pushback on that. I don't think that, because Matt Dillahunt himself has kind of said that like he doesn't kind of look at it in terms of like who won and who lost.
No, but
I heard him saying that himself. I'm pretty sure it was in one of his debate reviews that's on his own YouTube channel.
On the platforms he goes on to for his debates, in the comment section immediately afterwards, the host will say, "Who won the debate? Matt or Ken or Aaron or Nathan?" It's like, well, that's not the point of this. So you're not there to win. You're never going to win that
James
debate.
doesn't do that, which I like. He doesn't post like a poll or try to get like, people to vote on they think won. That's what I like about James's platform, actually. Because he's in the audience, and I'm kind of, I'm very sorry that I didn't get you to come, and I'm sorry that we kind of got it organized for there first. And I love Bobby, and please don't kick me off of coming to your open hangouts, and you've been, you've bolstered my channel, and you've supported it, and you've tweeted out, and
Stephen, you have a bit of brown on your nose.
Yeah, just a little. And on that horrible note, I'm going to drop out.
See you later.
That's not a problem. That's okay. Oh,
you're welcome.
And Mathpig says, "Oh no, that's not the one I wanted." He says, "Fuck you." So
and that was exactly the one you wanted. I couldn't resist, in fairness.
You're all right. You're all right. No, it was like yeah. It's gonna
But
be
yeah,
so much fucking fun. It's gonna be so much fun. As like a little bit of where did I see it? Where did I see it? It was oh yeah. There we go. Mathbit commented this earlier. It was one, if not the first debate that he ever heard me doing on iDebates. iDebates is the server on Discord. Yeah, he will smash this. Smokey's palm will be very sore. It's got like what? Yeah. Look, oh, sorry. I just got. Why am I brain farting right now? What the fuck is happening to me?
I'm letting you. I'm letting you.
What was I going to say? What the fuck was I going to say?
About the debate?
Yes. Thank you.
This is why you keep me around.
Yes, well, obviously, yeah. Jesus, who the fuck knows what would have happened if you weren't here? I'd just be brain farting for the next 5 minutes. Yeah, it's.
I actually believe you would.
Definitely, yeah. What was I going to say? Yeah. So even though I kind of got like my start, kind of doing the whole, religion thing, like that's kind of where I kind of, came up, and it's what I started my channel around and stuff like that. And whereas I still do love having a good old debate about religion and all that sort of stuff, the problem with that is that, like, if you're truly honest with yourself, you can kind of say, we're never going to really know until we're all dead, and by then it's too fucking late, right?
Yeah.
Irregardless of if I'm right or if they're right? If we're like, truly honest, I still love having them because they're fun and they're, exciting and they're entertaining and everything else like that. But that's kind of one of the problems with the where that's not found is in debates on politics, because there is a right answer and there is factual answers to these questions and to these points. So that's why I've kind of gone more into politics, because just there is a right answer and there is a way of solving all of the issues that we love to talk about. And yeah.
Well, first of all, Mama Atheist, I don't think you need to be worried. Second of all, there's something.
Well, now, hang on.
No, you shouldn't.
I'm closer to him.
You might be closer, but that doesn't mean nothing. But yeah, okay. So when it comes to politics, you can get answers, or you can have a conversation that can really change the material existence around you. That's what I was drawn into politics for. I've been in politics and around community politics since I was 20. I'm 33 in 2 months. So I've been around politics for a long time.
I would not have thought that you were that old, like, at all.
Yeah. I mean, I'm 33 in March. So I come from the kind of community politics, so it would be kind of center left. So I understand the ideas of working with the establishment and stuff like that, because I have practical experience. Whereas when you're talking about religion, first of all, you're talking on a purely emotional basis. There is no space for logic, and it's a philosophical thing. So you can't actually get grounded results or grounded conversation because it's philosophical. And if you have a philosophical mind, then that's fine. I don't. So topics around religion just don't interest me at all. I'd rather explain why people latch on to religion in order to explain the world around them.
Yeah. Like, so you'd rather kind of explain like why it's a thing rather than debate whether or not it's true or real or anything. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So debating whether it's true or not, the problem is we're too small of a creature to really understand our own existence. That's not a bad thing, but it also shouldn't prevent you from seeking those real answers. And the problem with the God question or God's question is by ascribing everything to God, for me, the realistic issue, by ascribing things to God and God's will, you take away the ability for human beings to change nature and to change the world around us. And that's the problem that I have. You ascribe all of that, everything that we have achieved as human beings, you give all of the credit to God or gods.
Yeah.
That's my problem with it. So in the realistic sense. So yeah. Other than that, by all means, enjoy your religion. I have no issue with people having faith. Just don't try to dominate others with it. That's I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah. It's just like my kind of personal thing on it is like, look at like, whereas I will have and I will enjoy like looking at and witnessing debates on religion, you know, when you kind of transfer that into the real world, like my like genuine view on it is, a religion is like a penis. A lot of people have them. They shouldn't be used around children, and keep them out of my fucking primary schools. That's all.
Well, I got into trouble. I got into trouble by defining religion as the tool of oppression of faith. Because
you got in trouble,
so
right?
I did actually get into trouble with some people. The whole point of religion, as opposed to faith in gods or faith in existential things, is fine. The problem with religion is it's a form of control of that faith.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I don't know. Speaking of modern day debate, apparently they're going up and having a debate later on tonight.
Are they?
I just got a notification.
Oh yeah, well, I got oh no, I've just gotten it now.
Is Bigfoot real? Okay.
Yeah.
I am actually doing a series. I do a series called Challenging Conspiracies, and so every month, my patrons pick which one that I'm doing. So,
okay.
So this one is going to be on chemtrails and explaining where the ideology for the ideas for chemtrails came from. But I did give the option, and I will give it again next month for Tusk, the option of a mythical creature. So the idea of, why do people believe in Bigfoot? Why do people believe in the Loch Ness Monster and stuff like that? So that's just, I like explaining where these ideas come from and why they actually gain traction. That's the draw for me.
Yeah. No, I can get behind that. I like that.
Whoop whoop.
Okay, well, fuck me. We have been streaming for 3.5. Well, I say I've been streaming for 3.5 hours.
Yeah. I've been here since the fucking start. Don't even.
No. It's just like
you're turning into Dave.
A dig or anything else like that. It's literally just like, I've been doing this for a very fucking long time, and the tiredness has just fucking caught up on me. That's why I was brain farting there for 2 minutes or so.
You're turning into Dave. You're turning into Dave.
Yeah.
3.5 hour streams.
That, and I'm up in 9 hours for work. So that's
I'm on holidays.
All of my like fucking come down and like, you know, relaxing into the evening. So I'm probably only going to get about like, I don't know, 6 hours sleep maybe. So
Mathfig says Mr. Bear is live in 30 minutes. So yeah, shall we wrap up?
Yeah, I was just going to say, there's a lot of people like going live in the next little while, so we'll just kind of wrap up and let people go over to there. So yeah, so thank you so much to everybody who has come. Thank you so much to Keela for staying around as long as you have. Yeah, the next video that I will be sharing out to you all is the kind of seminar roundtable / debate type of a thingy, 4v4 on the iDebates YouTube channel. I will be sending out a link to that, mainly because I won't be able to stream it. That will be on Thursday at I can't remember what time it was. 6:30, 7 Eastern, I think, off the top of my head. And then, yeah, obviously, as soon as I know more about Modern Day Debate. I will be tweeting about it and putting it all over my Discord server because of how fucking excited I will be. It has been since last July since I've been there last, so yeah, it's going to be exciting.
Well,
So
I'll be live on my channel in about 11 hours. I go live every Sunday morning, UTC time 11:30, with a Vietnamese. Well, he's Canadian who lives in Vietnam. Steamin' Cup of Reason, who is awesome, who actually designed my my avatar. So he's going to be on with me tomorrow. We do a weekly show. We alternate between the channels. So this week is on my channel, last week and next week will be on his channel. So yeah, it's good fun. So if anyone's around tomorrow morning, by all means, drop by and say hi.
I probably won't be able to catch it when you guys are live, but I will make a point of watching it afterwards.
Yeah, and then by the time I go back to work, I'm back on work on Wednesday. By the time that happens, there will be a new Challenging Conspiracies episode out. I'm also working on a series for, what am I doing? The social contract, the idea of the social contract, what binds us together, those unwritten rules, those unwritten understandings that we have, mainly for the anti-maskers and the Karens and the First Amendment auditors and stuff like that. And then the last thing that I'm doing is Eye on Society. So we're looking at why the historical reasons, kind of why issues are issues presenting now. So, woohoo!
Okay. Yeah, so as I said, thank you to everybody who came, like, comment, subscribe, all that YouTuber bollocks, and we'll talk to you on Thursday. Until then.